And the Doggies coming onto Docklands and through their banner for the first time. And a big roar from the crowd here. And
conditions, doesn't matter how you do it, it's better for everybody. There's some aggro out there. There's a lot of words being spoken out there.
Yes, I wonder what we'll expect as far as that's concerned tonight. We're ready to get underway. It's indoor footy from Colonial, and it was Wind and West. And already they go deep into attack. Eagleton, long kick straight out of the middle and missed the lot. So not a great start in terms of accuracy for the Dogs.
But McDonald coming off.
Already a change, yes. Headland looks as though he's gone on. So that's interesting because McDonald is their tallest player to go against Scotty Wind in the ruck.
Good interception from West. Brown gets it quickly. Ramiro off his left. Has he got enough carry? Garlick's there. It's cleared the pack. First blood to the Dogs. And it's Jose who kicks the first one.
Well, it's amazing. Nathan Eagleton missed everything from a pretty similar position to where Ramiro kicked the goal from. And from the kick-in, the Brisbane player elected to go back into the middle of the ground where Scotty West, no, it was Nathan Brown, I think, that gathered the ball. And doesn't that make it so much easier when you shoot for goal from right in front? And Ramiro capitalised on the mistake that the Brisbane side made. Number 13 for Brisbane is Brett Voss, manning up on Jose Ramiro. But a big job, a super job for Stephen Carey to just negate the dominance of Scotty Wind around this middle of the ground. And I think it's near on impossible for Brisbane. They must be very, very alert when the ball hits the ground.
Robbo. Paul Hudson was pushing the back before the ball was bounced.
All right.
So he might have a shot for goal here.
Yeah, thanks, Dip. 201 games, Paul Hudson. Kick out wide, not bad. At the feet there of Chris Grant. He's taken to the ground by Darryl White, all fair and above board. Great to see Nigel Lappin get an early touch. He didn't play anywhere near as well as he can against the Blues last Monday. Jay Plunkett there for the Bulldogs, and Bolton, Beau McDonald, Sean Hart in the background. We've already mentioned that McDonald has come off the ground, warming the bench, and his place has been taken by Headland.
So the Dogs with the first goal. Kennedy doing some ruck work there. Charging through. Huskis. It's a new look Huskis.
Very iffy free kick.
He's got rid of the old colour out of the hair. He looks almost normal.
Pete struggled a little last week too, Adam Huskis.
Goes short. Brett Voss. Now, is that 50? Yes. Plunkett going over the mark.
Leppich has run from full back and now he's standing as full forward down here. And Smith has had to chase him all the way down, but he certainly put himself in a position to get that kick.
No one in the forward half for Brisbane. Not one player in the forward half. Chris Grant, the closest player to the Bulldogs' goal.
Well, that's amazing, isn't it, when you consider that he'll score here. No doubt about that. He's 35 metres out, unless he kicks into the man on the mark. And he doesn't do that. It's through. Wasn't the greatest kick, but it's a goal.
Well, it's amazing. I mean, the coaches must be so frustrated sitting in the box. You do everything you possibly can in the lead up to the game, the days leading up to it, the talk before the game, and still you get that little bit of undisciplined play by the Bulldogs, which Brett Voss was never going to score from where he got the free kick from. All of a sudden, the 50-metre penalty gives him the chance and he kicks a goal for Brisbane. Brett Voss a goal, Jose Ramiro a goal, and it's a goal apiece. A goal apiece here at Colonial Stadium very early in the first quarter. Scotty Wind up early, takes the ball and gets his right foot to it. Eagleton again. Looked like a repetition of that forward move from this first centre bounce. Hudson, little tap on good. Collinute across the full forward line. Darryl White stretching, couldn't take it, but with his athleticism was able to carry the ball to the boundary line, and we'll have a throw in about 25 metres around from the Bulldog goal.
Dipper, what's the sound like with the roof closed? To make a difference?
Very loud there, Hutto. There's only, maybe 20,000 people here tonight. 25,000 people, still very, very loud.
So the Dogs attacking, both sides with a goal on the board. Dangerous territory here. Hudson, well tackled and good charging Leppich. That's what he's good at, another ball carrier. How far? Umpire, too far. Nigel Lappin, just the hesitation the umpire up the ground. Didn't realise that the whistle had already been blown.
Yeah, the umpire heard the Bulldog supporters. How far, umpire?
Free kick goes the way of Nathan Brown, who goes long to full forward. Grant was spoiled, and the quick kick away by Martin, now towards the boundary. Ashcroft gathered in, back to Martin against his old team. Wind in good position. Carey was competitive. Plunkett just escapes the foot tap and can send it high. Tough one for Rowan Smith against Leppich. Macamanis, they were so good back there last year. And Lappin again takes the mark as the Lions move into attack.
Good kick by Lappin. Now Ackermanis again receiving from Headland. And the mark is from Carey.
Yeah, it's a good play by Carey, Robbo. He made about 30-40 metres on Scotty Wine there. Found himself a bit of space. And
do you like the look of Headland, Dipper? He's only a young man in terms of games played.
Absolutely. He's played, 3 games last year. Obviously playing his first tonight for the Lions. They picked him up a couple of years ago, so a good future ahead of him.
Stephen Carey, from about 40 metres, going for Brisbane's second goal. He misses way to the left. And the umpire's found a free kick. That looked a little iffy as well. It's against Kingsley Hunter, and it might be Alistair Lynch, is it, down there in that left forward pocket, that has been paid a free kick for just what I couldn't see. He's not popular with the Bulldog supporters. They've got long memories. The Dogs, they remember the choking that he indicated in that final up at the Gabba last year. Alistair Lynch for the second goal for Brisbane. He shoots for goal, and I think he's missed. Much to the delight of the Bulldogs fans. I think Dipper has mentioned, Hutto, that there's probably between 20 and 25,000 people here. Not a bad crowd. Sunday night football, maybe a little against the crowd, but it's an interesting game of football if you're here to watch it.
Gee, it's noisy, isn't it? And you can just imagine what it's going to be like if the Essendon Bulldogs match or something like that is played here with the roof closed. In the middle of the ground, Hudson conceded a lot of ground. This is Brown, who goes out wide. Is that a free kick? Garnett thrust himself forward. No, said the umpire. Martin uses his pace, gets it to half forward. Oh, that was effortless from Black, and the kick was perfect. And Malloy takes the mark. He's a class player, isn't he, Black?
I think he's a very, very good player. It was mentioned last Monday against the Blues that Doug Hawkins on many occasions suggested that his form against Carlton a couple of times last year was first class, and he was down a bit last week, but I'm sure he'll be in for a big one tonight.
So Malloy from 35. No luck for him. Lynch tries to mark, hits the behind post. So the Lions 7 and the Dogs are 6.
Doesn't the football these days go from one end of the ground to the other very, very quickly? If they've got precision with foot passing and hand passing, they can move it from one end of the ground to the other in less than 10 or 15 seconds. Mark taken down here in front of us by Trent Bartlett. Now the Brisbane side under a bit of pressure in the middle. Scott back to Kennedy. Got his left fist to it, which wasn't too bad. He was in a very awkward position. Brett Voss from Carey onto Lawrence. Goal coming up for Brisbane here, surely. Luke Power from point-blank range misses. So they're square. The 2 left-footers have missed. Probably what they should have kicked. Nathan Eagleton early for the Bulldogs, and Luke Power on that occasion for Brisbane. Brisbane 1-2. Lead the Western Bulldogs, who are exactly a goal. Scotty West gets the hand pass away. Liberatore's kick smothered. It's going to go back to Scotty West. No advantage maybe there. Nathan Brown not happy with Luke Power. There's certainly no love lost between these two teams. And down there at ground level, I'm sure you can detect that.
Yes, there's plenty of niggle there, no doubt about that. Good running from West. Got it back from Garlick and then goes to Grant. Gee, Watt's done well early, spoiling. He's just getting hands to the ball at the last minute. Darcy was in there, Libber, ran into his own teammate. Good umpiring to let that go. It's a big bomb from Kennedy. Carey and 4 Bulldogs. And the result was the punch back, but there was plenty of lines down. Poor hand pass, really lucky free kick. Not that it wasn't there.
It was instinctive, wasn't it? As if he was told that he had to do it, even though the player was covered.
Voss kicks it down. Huskis had run down. Bartlett, another player against his old team, went straight for the boundary line, and he found his target.
He was a bit lucky there that he wasn't penalised, because he didn't try to disguise that at all, Trent Bartlett. Maybe the Bulldogs player with him.
As you mentioned before the game, that Quiddick now picking up Voss.
Maybe it was Adam Huskis there with him that gave the umpire the opportunity to let that go. Liberatore, power. Malloy overruns it. Gets the hand pass back to Carey. He leaves it behind. Plunkett, Shaw ball handling. Eagleton from centre half back. Nathan Eagleton kicks in the direction of and finds Garlick. Onto Ramiro. Ramiro, short pass all right. Grant. Favourite son here of the Western Bulldogs, Chris Grant. Go for goal. No, he hand passes. Off into the pocket. Chance here for Ramiro. He's already kicked one, but he's missed on that occasion. No go, Jose. 1 goal wonder Ramiro on the other side of the ledger. Brett Voss has kicked the goal for Brisbane, so Brisbane lead 1-2 to 1-1.
I know Chris Grant was trying to do the team thing then, but sometimes you wonder, don't you? Scott gets the handball to Ackermanis, and then now Voss looks up. He's got a loose man at half forward. We're going to see this all night, I reckon. If Carey can get away from Wine, he'll provide a target running forward. This time it doesn't come off, but Ashcroft goes for home. Just over Lynch's head. And Kingsley Hunter, who I reckon looks the goods in defence for the Dogs. And they've got Eagleton with plenty of space. And up on the wing on the rebound is Collingwood away from White.
Oh, terrible. They did everything right then, and then the kick let them down.
Ackermanis to Lawrence. He was going to run, and he just had to hesitate. Had to be good with a little dapping left foot kick, and he was. Brett Voss takes the mark, goes inboard. Ackermanis.
Damaging this player.
Yeah, good penetration on the kick in front of Lynch. And holding his feet was Huskis. Oh, he hesitated, and he was lost. And was lucky not to be penalised, really, in the end. Brown, a little bit dodgy with the handball. Hunter made it look pretty good. Lynch pursued, but he maybe put enough pressure on. White went to ground. No high tackle. Fair enough, said the umpire. Brett Voss, quick with the hands. Listen to that noise out there.
Can this keep up for the whole game?
Well, it's fantastic atmosphere. West ducked his head into a high tackle. Advantage paid. Liberatore takes it. Kicks it to centre half forward. Grant may have a new opponent.
Good punch.
Ball comes out onto the wing. Lappin. Grant. Persistence. Persistence does pay this time. He can wheel inboard, and the pass is good. They'll keep moving. Hudson through the middle, had Liver. Ignores him, goes up the left. Not sure about that one on the bounce. Chris Scott, a fumble. But now they'll get away with it, and it's the ever-reliable Marcus Ashcroft with a scrubber of a kick onto the wing. And Plunkett kicks it wide to Hudson, who's been busy. Kept his footing, not quite, knocked the ball, and it's out of bounds.
Fast game, boys, on ground level. Just players are all breathing very, very hard, just making sure they're involved in this game. Terrific play.
Peter Rode, one of the coaching staff now at the Bulldogs, with Phil Malin and the head coach Terry Wallace. And in the early minutes of this game, gee, they've missed a lot of targets, both sides, having opportunities to pinpoint players further down the ground and coughing it up to the opposition. Oh, Scotty West. Oh, he copped a nasty one, but he's recovered quickly. He's back on his feet. Nathan Brown, good kick. He's a left footer, but that right foot kick was very good. Liberatore to Rowan Smith, loves to run and carry the ball. Kicks it very wide, good kick too. From about 45, pinpointed Grant. Now, I know there's been a lot of discussion about Chris Grant's ability from about this distance to convert. So he's got to go back and, for his own confidence, pop this through, because he is a good kick for goal. He's a very good kick of the football. And I'm sure it's just confidence that he needs to get a good start. Excellent player last week. Kicking, I think he got about 5, didn't he, last week against Adelaide? Playing pretty well down close to the goal square.
Yeah, that's right.
Terry Wallace referred to that when he was speaking to Dipper before the game. Good kick by Grant. That's the sort of thing you want to see from a superstar. And he is a superstar. Chris Grant, one of the best players in the competition. Bulldogs 2-1, lead the Lions 1-2.
And a change coming up for the Lions. Hart coming onto the ground.
just watching this replay, Anthony, they'd love to give the ball to this player wearing number 5, Rowan Smith. And he just kicked it beautifully. It was weighted nicely. And Grant not having a change stride.
As you mentioned, Anthony, Stephen Lawrence has replaced him by Hart, and Darryl White's now coming off. Looks like it's a blood rule.
So Chris Grant putting the Dogs back in front. Coming onto the ground is young Bolton. And going back onto Chris Grant, there's Justin Leppich.
This is incredible, isn't it? He's got a scratch on his leg, Darryl White.
There's also another player coming off. Looks like one of the Scott boys coming off.
Chris Scott, yeah.
And will be replaced by Stephen Lawrence.
What's your impression so far, Rob? I call this just about 50-50 at the moment.
Oh, yeah, no doubt that they've both had their share of the ball. It's just which side can capitalise. I think that when you get into the open, you really have to make the opposition pay. If they cough it up to you, wherever it is on the ground, you have to capitalise by being precise with the kicking and the hand passing. And just early doors, there's been a few mistakes made. And only the scoreboard is indicating the Bulldogs are in front.
So out of the middle again, we're watching young Voss crunch. Darcy was just careful not to give away the free. This is Michael Voss. Look at the acceleration and the power. Good position, Lynch. Was it a free? It was.
It's against him.
Yeah.
Maybe a little push out.
Yeah, the umpire deciding that it was illegal. That was great desperation from Jared Malloy. And he was quick with the hands. Voss had to be quick with the kick. Up to 50. Backing back. Trying to get involved was Black. Headland kicked it off the ground. Free kick.
No place for any faint hearts out there.
No, advantage paid. Curley had no one to kick it to, so he went to the boundary line. And now it's a foot race. Out onto the wing. Getting there first is Huskus.
Good kick.
And it was an excellent kick.
That's better. That's what I mean. If you get the opportunity where the ball is in dispute and you can gather, you must make the opposition pay with your accuracy.
Bolton kicks it long. That's Trent Bartlett. And he knows he can get away from Lynch in that situation. And out wide is Darcy. Darcy on the outer wing just dribbled it. There was a good kick. They've got a loose man too. Hudson just has to get it past. He gets it up to half forward. All on his own is Perennial, who kicks quickly. And a high one. It wasn't the greatest of kicks. Getting back hard. Did pretty well. Black, he'll be quick to get it onto his boot. Perennial rode one bump. Plunkett's kick was okay. Garlick, 70 from goal. Where's Grant? Running down now to create a lead is Chris Grant. Not many options for Garlick. He's told to kick it long. Collingwood leads into the pocket. That's where the kick goes. He don't give him the free. He did. Well, umpire McKenzie was on the spot. Where did the mud come from on Collingwood's shorts, I wonder?
No idea. He has got Michael Voss too, which was what Dipper mentioned in his lead-up. Credial.
He goes close, but not close enough to behind. And so 2-2 plays 1-2 here at Colonial.
It's amazing. The first goal that Jose kicked, Jose Ramiro, it was a mistake, but it was from that, what we've referred to all over the last few years as a corridor. Certainly it makes it a heck of a lot easier if you're going to shoot from inside 50, on 50, in front of goals and kicking from the pockets. And this is a ground that none of these boys know yet. So it's a very unusual, very strange setup for everybody. The umpire's found a free kick out of that marking contest. It will go to Ashcroft. He's standing inside his defensive 50. Nathan Eagleton, the man on the mark, is just outside the defensive 50 for Brisbane. Ashcroft lands the ball on centre wing. Stephen Carey, but gee, look at that little bulldog liver. Couldn't get the ball clear. Headland and Scotty Wine watch the ball trundle over for a throw in right on the players' interchange area here. And the ball will be thrown in. Lovely throw in too. Scotty Wine doing the ruck work. No one can break away with the football, so the umpire will bounce. Our umpires tonight are Gavin Dorr, Andrew Coates and Mark McKenzie. And so far, nothing controversial has happened in this match. It's all been good, tough, hard stuff. Rowan Smith just toe poking forward. Oh, receiving from Garlick and kicking the goal. Magnificent footy, the Bullies.
Well, that's Rowan Smith at his best, isn't he? I mean, he's a good finisher and he just carries the ball so well.
But the little give by Garlick, this is another thing that has developed in terrific style.
Yep.
You know, without throwing it, he takes possession and gets his hand to it quickly. Rowan Smith not having to change stride, moving straight towards goal. And if you give him that chance, he usually capitalises and gets the goal.
So an important lead now in what has otherwise been a very close contest. Dogs 2 goals up. Carey and Wine contest. It's Brett Voss over the top of Scotty Wine.
Anthony, everywhere Michael Voss goes, Credior's going now. He was in the middle, Credior, and Michael Voss went down to the 4 line, now picking him up as a back pocket player.
Well, Andrew Coates just clearing the players out, give himself a bit of room to bounce it. And again, White, he came over the top, didn't he? And really gained them some ground. Oh, Curley was met heavily. Wine has been given a late free kick.
Brisbane were a bit stiff there. I know the umpire's Johnny on the spot. He's awarded a free kick to Scotty Wine, but the Brisbane side had the numbers when the ball ran free of that. Umpire deciding on a free kick, but Brisbane were away.
Well, that's a pretty bad free kick. Wine basically ducked straight into it. Over the back of the pack and trying to break clear Garlick. He'll be penalised.
Definitely caught with the ball and did have that, what we've seen referred to as prior opportunity. Tried to back his way out of the pack and now he's got 50 metres maybe for disputing the decision.
I would think so.
It's amazing. I was told many, many years ago by the late Jeff Crouch, you don't dispute the decision. You rarely see the umpire blow his whistle and reverse the decision. Get on with the game, use your energy to get the ball.
Power kicks the ball deep into the pocket. It wasn't a bad one in the end. Bolton just propping up in front of Brown, had the height advantage. I'm not sure if the pass was exactly meant to go there, but it was effective. And Bolton to kick a goal now down to that end we've seen.
You asked Luke Power and he'll say he meant it.
Oh, no doubt about that.
Spot on.
A lot of confidence shown in this young fellow. He's only just come out of the under-18s and he's played last week and again tonight. Good kick, well done.
Great kick. So an important one for the Lions.
Yes, to get one back, wasn't it? It was a little bit against not a trend, but certainly the wheels were flowing with the Bulldogs after they'd kicked the goal from Rowan Smith. But amazingly, I mean, you can see this being a very tight tussle all night. I think he meant to kick it into the pocket, but just whether it was good fortune for Bolton that it had the carry, and he, as you say, maybe had the advantage in height over his opponent. 3-2 to 2-2. The Bulldogs lead by a goal. We've got about 6 minutes left in the quarter, and Darryl White, good hand pass. Kennedy loves to thump the ball long, gets it in towards half forward. Brown couldn't take the mark. Credior, Ramiro. It'll bounce awkwardly. It did bounce very awkwardly. Chris Scott to Darryl White. Numbers beat Darryl White. Scott West. Kennedy well tackled by Garlick. Ball spills out to the back where Liberatore pounces on it. Good play by Liberatore. Bartlett. It's always good to give the hand pass, but it's great to have a target. Bartlett to Hudson, and Hudson kicks the goal. How many times have we said that in a 201-game AFL career from Paul Hudson? He's kicked a goal for the Bulldogs. Great play. Liberatore, as I say, it's one thing to give the hand pass, but I think a lot of credit can go to Trent Bartlett for making himself a target and giving the chance for the hand pass to be delivered by Liberatore.
So a frantic first quarter here. And at the moment, it's the Dogs by 2. Hart's handball just missing the target a little bit. Scott had to be quick with the kick. Now he's got Lynch in best position and he's got Malloy, so a fair bit of weight. And here's Curley escaping with it all. And he has to be good and accurate with the kick to blank it because Hart was always on him the whole way. And in the end he concedes another line and out of bounds.
There's a great drill out here at the moment between Jarrah White and Rowan Smith. They're playing cat and mouse on each other. Smithy's gone from the forward line, moving on to the wing, and sort of just playing all over the ground at the moment. And Jarrah White's just sort of keeping 10 metres away from him all the time.
Interesting that White started on Grant and now Lepich is on Grant, as we see Darcy give away a free kick and let the umpire know what he thought about it.
Look, Darcy's just got himself a little excited before this game started. He's done a couple of indiscreet things, and he's much better than that when he goes for the football in a fair and hard way.
Voss has got Bolton leading out, and it was an excellent kick and a good lead into space from young Bolton. We saw him kick beautifully a few moments ago, and this is not a bad kick either. Oh, Bartlett down there, and he gets some support from Chris Grant. What's he doing at that end of the ground?
He's following Lepage all the way down.
Black, this is Bartlett. It was meant for Hudson, and he gets it in the end. Great steal, and the turnover, effective. Ramiro, look at West, and he's got someone, Collingwood, all on his own. He passes inboard, Collingwood takes the mark, and he'll go back and have a shot. Great turnover from the Dogs. They turned it, transformed it from one end to the other very quickly with loose men. And interesting, I think, to see a change in structure now for the Lions dipper with Lawrence coming on. And I think they're probably deciding that their forward line was too top heavy, as Collingwood makes no mistake.
Well, I think you called it there, Anthony, back around the middle of the ground when the ball was in dispute. And the man on screen, not number 2, but certainly number 9, Paul Hudson, watch it come out here and watch him make the ball his. Then gave the hand pass away to Ramiro, and then all of a sudden, gee, they had options all over the place. Scott West could have kicked this to any one of 3 players. He elected to go long. There's Garlick in the background, and there was another player in the foreground, but he gave the, probably in the finish, the correct delivery to Steve Collingwood, who loves to kick a goal. He's kicked his first.
A bit of a mismatch at the moment. White's gone down deep forward, and Plunkett's on him now.
And Voss playing at full forward.
So the umpire has restarted play. Scotty Wine gets the ball away. Garlick and Martin. There's a foot race for you. Martin tapping in front of himself and in front of Simon Garlick. Nothing much he could do there. Moving quickly, couldn't control it and took it over for a boundary throw in right on centre wing. Pretty good crowd in here. Right out in front of where the umpire there is throwing the ball in, there is a good congested area of fans that have come along here tonight. As I said, Sunday night football, maybe not conducive for young people who have got to go to school tomorrow, but they've come along to watch the Bulldogs' first match here at Colonial.
And they're doing the job at the moment. Garlick, Hudson, Garlick. Quick kick. It's a wobbly one. Collingwood propping. Right there with him, Ackermanis. Did he infringe? He did. Well, 2 in a couple of minutes coming up for Collingwood. We'll have a look at this one.
Maybe the left arm going over the shoulder, and then nothing in that other than in the initial stage when Jason Ackermanis tried to maybe knock the ball away, put his arm over Steve Collingwood's shoulder.
Another one on the board of the Dogs. And they've skipped away now to a 4-goal lead. And gee, Hudson's been dynamic, hasn't he?
I think importantly, it's maybe not so much that the Bulldogs will kick 6. It's that the Lions are left lamenting having only got 2 goals for their efforts. And you mentioned that Lynch came off the ground and Lawrence went back on to try and set it up a little differently up on the forward line. But when they get there to within scoring distance, the Bullies are taking it away, and then all of a sudden it's down on, it's in there against them within seconds. So 6-2 plays 2-2. Carey forced to do the ruck work up against Scotty Wine, but it's in a disputed situation there at ground level.
Robbo, in this first quarter, the Lions have made 9 changes compared to the Bulldogs, none.
Well, they've been forced to, haven't they? I mean, the Bulldogs, everything flowing quite comfortably for them. Cohesion. Most of their players getting a little bit of the football, led by Darcy there at centre bounce. Liberatore to Darcy. He can't get away. Michael Voss, on this occasion, gets away from Pretiuk. Stephen Carey kicks the ball in towards half forward. In front of the pack was Lawrence, but he's beaten by Curley. Curley weaves his way through and then kicks it forward, and the mark taken by Darcy away from Matthew Kennedy. Swings around onto his left, kicks it out wide. Meant for Hudson, didn't take the mark, but his recovery was very good. Back onto the left, then gives the hand pass away. Ramiro, ever aware, and his short pass has found Garlick. Garlick was very good last week. He spent a fair bit of time on the bench, but he came off the bench and was instrumental in 2 or 3 goals for the Bulldogs towards the end of the game, and I'm sure he's been rewarded by getting early ground time in this match for his efforts from last week's match. Garlick going for the Bulldogs' 7th goal. Good kick. It's got the carry that kicked 7 in the first term. Simon Garlick, the goal kicker. Colin has kicked a couple. And it's been a goal-scoring barrage by the Bulldogs.
We've talked about it already, but the amount of changes that Brisbane have had to make just to try and get something set up forward really just shows the trouble they're in. But the real trouble at the moment is, I suppose, getting past half forward for them in the last 10 minutes, isn't it? Because the Dogs have set up a lot of opportunities between the centre and half back.
And that's probably why Lee Matthews has got Darryl White now down on the half forward line.
Carey and some help from Lappin. There's basically a big hole at centre half forward. Rowan Smith's clearing kick will bounce which way? Back onto the centre. Hudson again, another touch. His handball just slightly missing the target. Brown recovery, and his vision was terrific. And Ramiro's on his own. He Bartlett spots him, he goes longer. Probably should have gone shorter as it turned out. Out comes Grant, that's just a depth touch. Garlick kicking quickly into the square. Colinook again, won't get there. Eustace looks a little annoyed. He's got a loose man, and it's Ashcroft. He looks up, anyone presenting themselves. Darryl White, he can handball, he decides not to the running Kennedy. Good running from Ackermanis down the ground, and he takes the mark. 60 from goal, and well, the idea was right, the execution was terrible. When Plunkett can clear it, he did it. It was a little bit haphazard with the kick. Darryl White takes the mark, and a beautiful delivery to Ackermanis. Close to quarter time.
Popped it up again.
High kick, made it impossible for Malloy, but he got it, he threw it. Power, got a handball back to Bolton, who's been good for them. There's the siren. A bit cruel in the end. But a tremendous first quarter for the Western Bulldogs. Scores to settle, of course, for them. And Paul Hudson, who played game 200 last week, has been just outstanding tonight.
Well, they've had quite a few contributors, haven't they? I think that it's been a good spread by the Bulldogs, as I said earlier. They've had many, many good players all over the ground.
Well, they lead by 5 goals at quarter time. Well, big Bo McDonald gets his chance in the ruck.
Yeah, carries on the bench there with Eustace, and also young Bolton just getting his ankle strapped at the moment.
White gone back into defence there for Brisbane.
Good to see McDonald in the ruck, I reckon.
I agree, yep. They've got to get some height advantage and maybe get the ball clear.
Well, one thing is for sure, the umpires are finding it very difficult to bounce the ball properly here in the centre circle. We saw it last week. They're not getting high enough. Smith can send the Dogs deep into attack again. Colinook's down there, Darcy's down there. Scott.
Well done, Chris
Get
Scott.
them out of trouble. And there's a nice bit of play. Oh, Kennedy, what was that?
See, even now, there's no one really to kick to, and he's being forced to bomb.
And he does to half forward. There wasn't really a target there, as you said, Robbo. Brett Voss, Plunkett, head down, Eagleton.
I see that as just the discipline from the Bulldogs to man up and make sure there aren't any loose players. On the other hand, when the Bulldogs come away from their half-back line, the Lions players are not forcing themselves to get quickly onto their men, which is giving the Bulldogs targets around the ground.
McDonald gets to the front. West over the top, and another bounce.
Keeping up with the benches, Hutto, with Ackermanis, Bolton, Carey, Eustace for the Lions, Wills, Croft, Cox and Paul DiMartino on the bench for the Bulldogs.
Dippo, while you're there, do you still see this game very much as a game of discipline of the 18 players that go on the ground?
Oh, absolutely. It's always been that way, Robbo, but
Yeah.
the Bulldogs certainly want to prove a point tonight. And
Yeah, they do look as though they're on a mission, don't they?
absolutely.
Are you surprised that Bolton started this quarter on the bench?
I think just having his ankle taped, boys, I think he'll be back on the ground shortly.
Well, McDonald, maybe he can give them some sort of advantage from these stationary plays. But it's the Dogs again going for it. That's a great contest power. And as a result, they're going to have a chance now to go forward after the kick from Black, from Headland, and down it goes. And Lynch can line them up.
Oh, popular Alistair Lynch. No siree. Have a listen to that.
That was a good grab. He'd know all about Trent Bartlett, of course.
Well, I'm sure if you can give it to him in a one-on-one, he's going to get his share of the ball, Alistair Lynch.
Well, he's 35 metres out. And it's a poster. And Liver gives him a kiss, just to remind him.
Oh,
I've got to tell you what the crowd are doing. Have a guess.
The old
choking,
Put their hands around their necks.
I tell you what, it might come back to haunt him on occasion, I'd say. Well, the Bulldogs trying to get clear of their half-back line. They'll succeed in doing so. Rowan Smith carries, kicks. No kick down the ground. The players in that area may have just hesitated slightly. Garlick, now Darcy. He's caught by Leppich. Ball spills to Ashcroft. Ashcroft goes out wide, and now on this occasion, Nigel Lappin has a little bit of space. He's being shepherded there by Malloy, and Malloy's bumped him with the elbow, has he? He's bumped his opponent, Scott West, with the elbow, and the umpire sees that as a turnover, so the Bulldogs will go into attack. Scott West has the ball, lobs it into the middle of the ground where Rowan Smith takes the mark. He can play on. Preliuk's on his own. He's got 35 metres, lobs it into the pocket, and that ever-reliable kick for goal Paul Hudson is marked, certainly within scoring range.
Well, at the other end of the ground, the Brisbane forward line is pretty dysfunctional at the moment. You could see, just before Malloy gave that free kick away, the hesitation in the forwards. No one was leading, no one was quite sure what to do as the ball was brought down the ground. On the other hand, the Dogs working beautifully.
Yeah, quite stagnant from that point of view. Look at Hudson's shot at goal. Now, give the ball to him when you're 5 points behind with a minute to go. I tell you what, he would be a living certainty, Paul Hudson. He very rarely lets you down, and he must have a wonderful goal-behind ratio from shots at goal all over.
Have a guess who's coming off, boys.
Coming off is Malloy for
Eustace.
That indiscretion. They did have a chance to kick a goal. The turnover has cost them. So a 2-goal turnaround there. 8-2 plays 2-3. And straight away, Jared Malloy being spoken to by the coach. Not necessarily the head coach on that occasion, but the person involved there would have disciplined the player because they did have a real chance to score. They had the ball and it was given away to West. Now Curley from half-back.
And the kick wide. Darcy, who's in the contest, numbers with the Lions on that occasion. And Lawrence it is to take it.
Just precious seconds there, 1 or 2 seconds by Hudson as Lawrence fell over. There were a couple of players clear.
No target again for Brisbane. Bradshaw, though, came out well at the last minute. Took the mark, so they're trying Bradshaw up for it. He kicked it high. Lynch got 3 to beat. He stood his ground pretty well. Who's at the front? Plunkett against Brett Voss. Plunkett, you are gone. You are gone and you are penalised. And it might have been fairly red hot, but he did have just that moment to get rid of it. And he took them on and pays the penalty. Lepic's the tackler. This is it.
If he looked again, he probably would have just said a poor decision-making process there.
So,
never going to get away from the tackle, was he?
No. Absolutely vital, this kick. And he's got it. So Brisbane get a desperately needed goal.
It does sound silly, but I think when Chris Bond came off at quarter time, he mentioned that 5 goals is not a lead. It's amazing, this game of football, the way it's played these days, there's no lead that you can really guarantee that you can sit back and rest on your laurels.
Yeah,
and,
I agree with him to an extent, the way this game's been played, but Brisbane just need to get their forward line working and they'd be just about in business.
Justin Leppich, the goal kicker, poor decision making there by Plunkett, and when he watches the replay, I'm sure he'll agree with that. He perhaps could have just bashed it clear with a hand pass, but trying to get past the Justin Leppich tackle has cost them badly. Now these are the players that they need. Black in the middle of the ground. You break clear of the centre. I thought Bo McDonald was good there. The ruck contest, the umpire did bounce it reasonable. He was given the chance to take advantage of his height, and he got it forward, and eventually the clearance, affected by Black, who was a little quiet in the first term, got off to a reasonable start, but Bradshaw leading down the ground, and that's what the forwards have got to do, keep moving, give the players who are delivering the ball some sort of a moving target. Bradshaw kicking from about 35, makes no mistake, so 2 quick goals to Brisbane. Daniel Bradshaw kicks his first goal after spending most of the first quarter on the bench, and Brisbane hit back ever so slightly, 8-2 to 4-3 margin, 23 points in favour of the Bulldogs.
Well, there's been a lot of AFL clubs with their eye on Daniel Bradshaw over the last couple of pre-seasons. Injury and form keeping him out of the senior team for Brisbane, but he can certainly play and he can kick, and that's very important, obviously, for football. So Terry Wallace, just a few things to think about.
Well, it's all around that centre area. The centre breaks, and McDonald's got his hands on it again.
Ashcroft did well. Black out of dislodge, straight through the centre half forward area they go again. Brett Voss, Smith, West. That was a good give from Lappin out to Brett Voss. Hurry kick, and Black's a good finisher. Off his right or left, and he's not a good finisher. Black's a bad finisher on that occasion.
They're working pretty hard on Jason Ackermanis down here. Looks like he's got a right thigh injury, and they're putting bandage upon bandage at the moment. Maybe we'll see it back on the ground. It's certainly a loss to the line. It's a very good run off the back line.
Very much so, Dipper. It's up high around the nearly up around the groin area where that spray is going on by the look of it. How do you see the last couple of minutes, Dip?
Yeah, well, obviously the Bulldogs start off very well in that first quarter, but the Lions they've got to be at them all the time, and they might get a few breaks throughout this quarter.
West with the ball in the back pocket, kicks it out wide, lands it nearly at the wing. Chance here for McDonald. Lynch tries to knock it clear. Power there for Brisbane. The boundary umpire will throw it in. Stephen Carey, Bolton. We've spoken about Ackermanis and Malloy warming the bench presently for Brisbane. Scotty Wind up against Bo McDonald at this boundary throw-in.
Wind got the first tap, but it's Ashcroft to emerge. And a high one, tough for the forwards there. Bartlett takes the mark, and Knezov goes laterally. Brown.
Good kick.
Yeah, good centering kick, because he brought it inboard, and that's where teams can do so much damage through the centre square. He's gone out a little wide, but Eagleton will straighten them up. Down long in the Grant direction, just propped beautifully. Couldn't complete the mark. It's a great battle, Leppich versus Grant, and that will tell the tale to a large extent tonight. Voss kicks quickly but blindly. Wine to get the Dogs moving through the middle. Liver looks up. It was fairly crowded up forward, so he goes out wide. Got Credial. Credial could pop it up into the pocket. Grant had escaped, but Leppich was within range. Made the spoil. Lawrence, he is tough, but boy, he's cleaned up there. A bit high.
A bit lucky, I think.
I think a lot lucky.
A little bit lucky. Maybe...
Don't change it, umpire. Don't change it.
Dear.
You are kidding.
That's a very severe penalty, isn't it, for a player who, I guess it's a very emotional game. That tackle there from Collinute was a little high.
But see, Grant pushed Leppich.
Yeah.
So Leppich goes back and grabs him. There's the initial shove. He comes back, grabs him there. He grabbed him. Grant just fell to the ground.
Yeah.
And I hope the umpires watch that tape back.
The old reaction instead of the action. Grant kicks for goal and has hit the post. So I think fair justice there for the umpire in that circumstance and the players, with just a behind resulting from the Chris Grant shot at goal. 1 goal, 1 to Chris Grant.
It's hard not to get angry about that stuff. I mean, the umpires just use a bit of common sense.
And that's basically all you're looking for, is consistency but common sense. The kick-in has been nearly taken by Voss, gathered by Hart. No one really to kick to. And Nathan Brown has taken the mark. Handball away, Southern. He's caught. Should be penalised. Only had a split second, but certainly had the chance. He backed back to try and break the tackle.
Tackles like that are certainly team lifters, aren't they, Robbo? Fantastic tackle.
Most definitely. All players doing those small 1%ers. The kick forward, no mark taken. Curley is fronted there by Michael Voss. In goes Wills, and the umpire will have to quickly jump in there amongst those players. There's a certain amount of emotion flying around here.
Now, Robbo, we saw young Bolton kick those goals early in the first quarter. He's also off the ground with a thigh injury. They're working very hard on him to get him back on the ground. So maybe the Lions bench is down to 2 now.
Not much to work with when that sort of thing happens. Scotty West trying to break away. Oh, well done by, who was that? Luke Power, who nearly got his foot to the ball in a congested area. The free kick has been picked up. It goes to West. Now umpire coach beckons West to play on. Handball's wide out to Ramiro. Then in turn Plunkett. Plunkett goes to Brown, and Brown is marked just behind centre wing.
Rowan Smith. Get the Dogs working through the middle. Curley. Ramiro, he measured it off. It wasn't a bad kick. Grant couldn't hold it. Collingnook running out of the legs. Oh, he did well with his feet to keep it in. He battled on very well, Collingnook. Likewise, Lepich. The hand pass is excellent. It all opens up now.
Got a score here.
Martin on the bounce. Power, very quick with the hands. Not bad. Out in front of Blackman. He'll have to go into the pocket. And it'll be tough. It'll be tough for Bradshaw. Hunter has the superior strength and height. And he kicked it pretty well in the end. And there's a loose man up on the wing for the Dogs. Brown gets to his feet and then kicks it out, and guess who? Jose. Little short kick out wide to Darcy. He looks up. What's he got ahead? In the middle he's got Libber. That's where he goes. It's fairly congested down forward. He's going to switch play with a handball. Watch out, Crediok. Oh, he was going to be cleaned up. Kicked it quickly. Good kick in front of the space. And Grant led well and takes the mark.
Again, I reiterate about Chris Grant. These are the goals that he just has to post. He's done all the hard work. He's made the ground. He's taken the safe chest mark from this kick coming in from Steve Crediok. And you can see that he's well within scoring range. He will have no difficulty getting the distance. He's right in front and only a matter of about 35 to 40 metres out.
It's a great kick because he didn't try to kick it to Grant. He just kicked in the space and allowed Grant to run onto it.
Terrific look there from the camera behind Chris Grant at the opposite end of the ground.
And a terrific look at him missing.
That's the sort of thing. You can't... It's easy to sit here, but he's such a class player. In field play, he pinpoints from 40 metres. A teammate down the ground hits him on the chest.
He's got to imagine 3 or 4 steps, didn't he? Boys, you want to run into that kick.
I think he's got
3 or 4 steps.
I think he's got to imagine, Dipper, that he's field kicking.
Yeah, he's on the
Forget
run.
about those 2 big sticks.
I guess the only thing is that, oh, that's a bad kick. He has improved his kicking at goal last year from the year before. Ramiro left foot. He hoiks it back nicely. Makes up for it all. So it's back to 5 goals. And considering the amount of play the Lions have had in probably the last 6 or 7 minutes, that's a pretty good margin for the Dogs at this stage.
Well, it was Daryl White, the kick in, looking for Hart, but the ball having a little bit of movement on it, and eventually Ramiro doing what good midfielders, smaller players do, hunting around the pack, gathered beautifully, threw it onto his left, and guided it down perfectly to kick the goal. So Jose Ramiro has now kicked a couple, 9-4 to 4-4, back to a 5-goal margin. McDonald doing well, getting his hands on it. Michael Voss grabbed a little high, got the hand pass away to Black. Black kicks it up towards Kingsley Hunter and Bradshaw, kicked off the ground by Power, was it? It's a goal kicked by Power. So Luke Power did well there. He assessed the situation, could see that maybe by bending down to pick it up he was going to be tackled. So quickly off the ground registers Brisbane's 5th goal.
Again though, Rollo, as we look at the replay, just the value, and we just say it all the time, of getting the ball straight out of the middle and going down the middle.
Well, it just happens so quickly, doesn't it? And the marking contest between Bradshaw and Kingsley Hunter, the ball, well, 4 out of 5 times the ball will hit the ground, and that's exactly where Luke Power was when it hit the ground. He was the opportunist. Darcy, maybe the blood rule, being forced to go to the interchange bench. and they have Scotty Wind ready to come back onto the ground. And Paul Dimatina preparing to take the place of Paul Hudson. So with about 10 minutes left in the first half, Dimatina has his first run. Paul Hudson has kicked a couple, and he will spell the rest of the half, you would think, on the bench.
Interesting dipper down there. We just saw in the corner of our shot, Eagleton getting work on the back of his neck. Is any word on how he is? I hope he's okay.
No, I'll check up on him, mate.
Thanks, mate. McDonald gets them going, but it's Ramiro that gets out of the centre, although the handle wasn't great. Plunkett couldn't do it. Ashcroft could. Got it and kicked it out wide. Bradshaw at his best on the lead. That time couldn't take it. And that is Bradshaw's value, Robbo, isn't it? I mean, he's quick out of the blocks for the league.
We watched him last week, and he got his hands on a fair bit of the football early in the match against Carlton, but couldn't quite take the marks. And maybe that kick was just a little bit too, not fierce, but had a little bit too much carry on it.
Doesn't look great, does it?
No, Nathan Eagleton being attended to by the medical staff. Power to Hart. Hart goes to the front of the goals. Oh, Bartlett missed the mark. I'm sure he would have thought he could have got that. Brett Voss, good. Jared Malloy gets the goal. Well done, Brett Voss. A lot of times in a game of football, the plaudits go to the goal kicker, but Brett Voss assessed that. Bartlett probably should have taken the mark, but this hand pass was terrific stuff by Voss. And it's difficult to run down a big man when he's got the momentum up in the goal square, as Jared Malloy did on that occasion. Malloy kicks his first goal of the match, and he did spend some time on the bench earlier in this term for an indiscretion.
So Malloy kicks the goal. Great instinctive football, though, by Brett Voss. And I wonder if Terry Wallace is going to go to the phone after that last goal. Trent Bartlett, unfortunately, dropping a mark which really let the Lions in. And it is a terrific battle in the centre of the ground.
Well done, Black.
And Black followed up his work, but his handball wasn't great. Putting the head down straight away there was Bartlett.
I'll tell you who has been important since he came back on the ground, Beau McDonald. I just feel as though he's given them something to work with. You know, it's as if the other players may have grown in stature a little bit because they're confident that he can get his hands on it.
Well, this man always does. Now Dimatina on the ground, but the numbers with the Lions, and there's Black again, and his pass was superb.
Now, if he can kick this goal close to half-time, 2 goals the margin, after the Bullies led by at least 5 on a couple of occasions, certainly at quarter time and in this second quarter, if Nigel Lappin can kick the, well, just a couple of goals the margin, I think we're in for a crunching second half.
And they've readjusted after the blood rule with Darcy back on the ground and Wine back off. Big kick for Lappin and the Lions, and he kicked it beautifully. Shreds it through. And the Lions all of a sudden back within 2 goals. And we talked about it at quarter time after Chris Bond had said that they really were still in it in such a free-flowing game. And with 7 minutes remaining in this quarter, they could be back on level terms by half-time.
Well, you just get a little feeling. You get a different feeling, don't you? That, gee whiz, they're not as superior as maybe the scoreboard was indicating. And I think everybody in wearing a Brisbane jumper at the moment has just got a little sniff of the action and feel that we can get on top of this opposition. Earlier, maybe they were having some doubts.
Can't help thinking that it's going to be high scoring at Colonial all through the year.
It looks pretty much, when we say centre clearance, 1 kick down and then it's a goal. Very similar to the Sydney Cricket Ground, I think. Well, that kick forward by Black, and it's a mark. Bradshaw's marked it, but he's given the free kick away. It'll go back to Hunter on the full back line. He hand passes it away to Rowan Smith. Rowan Smith, Malloy's got to go for this, but he's beaten for it by Darcy.
At half-back Darcy, he centres the footy to West, but not a great deal gained. He looks up. Grant is still too far away. He goes in that direction. Grant's behind. Bartlett provided an extra target. It's a loose one. Ramiro. West, uncharacteristic fumble. That was something like a hand pass. Rowan Smith goes long. White's in the hole. Oh, he didn't mark it. And he goes again. Oh, and he's handball intercepted. Grant, can he get boot the ball? Was that a free kick? No,
Grant's in
Wills.
trouble, boys.
It's a behind.
His shoulder or something. He's just let his shoulder sort of rolled onto it.
Yeah, quickly
okay.
out there, the medical staff, but he looks as though he's all right. Gee, it was like they formed a wall, wasn't it, when Brisbane were trying to come away. All Bulldogs players, the kick came out from one of the defenders. It hit the shins of one of the Bulldogs players, and they still worked very hard to manufacture a chance. Couldn't quite capitalise through Andrew Wills, but now Brisbane, with a couple of kicks, have got the ball with Chris Scott. He'll go short again to Voss. Voss had Ashcroft running, but he looked as though he was covered, so Voss has to go back. There's no one to kick to. Absolutely no one to kick to. So he's got to give ground. Goes back to Scott. Scott now goes into the centre, and the mark is taken by Kennedy. He's got a player wide, very wide on the far side of the ground. And he didn't quite go in that direction. He went short of the Lawrence. Lawrence now finds that player who was Martin. Martin into the pocket, and they've manufactured something there, the Brisbane side. They had nothing from the left half-back flank area where Michael Voss had it, and eventually by giving meterage away, going back towards the defending goal, they've got the ball round that far side of the ground, and it's finished with Bradshaw. He has the chance to get the 8th goal on the scoreboard for Brisbane.
And Connick in trouble here, boys. He's coming off the ground, might have a broken finger or something.
Well, that's bad luck for Steve Collingham. He's kicked a couple. Bradshaw has kicked one. Bradshaw goes for goal. He's kicked another one. Scores 1 point the margin. 7 points the margin, sorry. Getting a little excited. They did get a goal, the Bulldogs. Now 9-5 to 8-4 close to half-time. This certainly was something that they worked very hard to put together. But eventually, and a good kick, a good finish by Martin, giving Bradshaw every opportunity. And of course, the defender was in absolutely no man's land. There was nothing he could do as far as intercepting that pass.
Collingwood has got a very bad dislocated finger. He's in a lot of pain on the bench down here, boys.
So 9-5 to 8-4. Darcy, good work just shielding McDonald from the ball. Out of the middle, Voss over the top of it.
And the news on Nathan Eagleton, he's suffering from headaches tonight, boys. That's why I just try to free his headache by moving on his neck there.
He was the boy that fell to the ground through a heart problem, wasn't he, last year? And gee, I hope it's nothing too serious.
Charging through Hart and Black.
Got a few clearances. They've got a few clearances, haven't they?
Black's been very influential in this quarter. Lappin's kick in the direction of Bradshaw.
Great mark. He split the pack, didn't he? He's not a big man, but he certainly said to himself, I have to make this my ball. And that's exactly what happened. He went crashing through, put his hands in the air and got a good grip of it. Watching again, you'll get a good look at this. Watch him come from about third in line. Bang. Player coming from the side. Southern couldn't get anywhere near it. Bradshaw. Resultant mark shot at goal.
Well, he's 40 out. And he makes no mistake. Now it's a 1-point ball game.
Well, I think it's easy to harp on the fact that it's been around the centre bounce area that Brisbane have tightened up. They've made it a lot harder mentally and physically, and they're getting their share of the centre clearances themselves and just using the ball a little better. Watch this struggle here. It was Simon Black that got it out in the finish. Nigel Lappin didn't have much space, but got good spin on the ball, good penetration, which was exactly what Daniel Bradshaw was looking for. A good opportunity for him to take the mark and kick the goal. So a point the margin. You can see there just 3.5 minutes left in the quarter, and this is the area that the Brisbane side have lifted. They're making it extremely difficult for players like Ramiro, Scotty West, Liberatore to get an effective kick or hand pass away from the centre bounces. If they don't win them, the Bulldogs are being held up around this area of the ground. Beau McDonald knocked forward by Ashcroft, gathered by Smith. Smith to kick the Bulldogs forward.
And Wills takes the resulting mark. And look at him run around in the big arc and a high one. Grant. Darcy was down there. There's Grant. Popped over it. Frenetic start. They're claiming it and they're rewarded. Wow. That is extraordinary.
And look at the look on Chris Grant's face. He can't believe it.
Said it all. Said it all.
I think when you throw yourself on the ball, we saw it yesterday down at Geelong, that as soon as you throw yourself on the ball, you run risk of being penalised.
You do, and as long as the players are aware of that. Big McDonald. And the Lions are really firing at the moment. Out wide. Up goes Kennedy with one of those big high ones. Lynch back on the ground. Bartlett over the top. High kick into the square. Trying to get to the front, Bradshaw. This time Southern conceding. And would you believe it? Scores a level as we close in on half-time.
I was just thinking the same thing, that, you know, even halfway through the quarter, they had a 5-goal advantage, the Bulldogs, and it did look as though they may have held that. But to Brisbane's credit, and I guess if you have certain control of a game of football, you don't have that control all the time. So the other side have to lift. Brisbane has, and maybe the Bulldogs have still got to find the answers now. Nathan Brown receiving from Ramiro. Kicks the ball into their forward half, but Darryl White gets back and marks safely across half-back to Lepage. Lepage delivers the ball beautifully. Malloy can handball over the top. No, he decides to go short with the pass to Hart. And Hart has marked the ball in front of Crediuk. So Crediuk's immediate opponent was Voss. Hart gets it to Malloy. Malloy quickly up towards the goal square. Can they take a mark? It's punched away. Not bad play by Bartlett. They've kept it alive. Grant's got the ball, takes it over. The pressure now, that's a free kick against Power. Well, there was more venom in that than what happened to Chris Grant at the other end of the ground when Chris Grant was given a free kick for pushing Justin Lepage over, or Justin Lepage pushing Grant over. It was reversed. Lynch interfering in the ruck contest. The free kick will go to the Bulldogs.
So 59 apiece. Very close to half-time. Big quarter of footy by the Lions. And it will be a fantastic second half. Malloy, he's done a hamstring or something. Maybe not a hamstring.
Collingwood in the rooms now. He just can't get his finger back in at the moment, so they're going to give a bit of a painkiller so they can get the finger back in.
He's just hyperextended his knee, I think.
Oh, that's what it was. That was it there. I hope he's okay. Liberatore clears it onto the wing. Kennedy against Bartlett. Hudson. Liberatore ducked the head. How many times do you see that? Good passage of handballs as they build the Dogs. Hudson misses the target over Liberatore's head. Martin got around one. Now gets it out. Lappin on the rebound. Not all that much for the Lions. The Dogs have done pretty well, but now Voss is the loose man, and maybe he can carry it after he takes the mark. Looks up. Again, they're manned up. So a contest across centre half forward. Lynch. Good body work. Now
it was a good strong mark, wasn't it? It was a very good strong mark by Alistair Lynch.
And goes short to Lawrence. So the Lions will be in front. The Lions will be in front.
A spendthrift with a sense of humour would have backed that about 10 or 12 minutes ago.
Stevie Lawrence. There really has been a remarkable turn of events in this second quarter. And here's Lawrence's kick. And it's pretty good. It does the job. Right on the siren. So an 8-goal quarter from the Brisbane Lions sees them turn in front. And this crowd at Colonial with the roof on. They're going to get one heck of a half.
There's a few Brisbane fans here too by the noise that was made when that siren sounded. Giving the Lions the lead. Yeah, yep. There's quite a few supporters here following the Brisbane side.
Well, Stevie Lawrence gets his share of congratulations. As for the Dogs, they're thinking about what happened in that quarter. I'm sure they'll turn it around in the third. It's a one-goal ball game at Colonial.
Akamanis now starting on the ground, boys.
Just quickly, how did you assess Paul Hudson coming off the ground at the end of the second term there?
Yeah, I don't know the reason why, but he finished the first half on the ground, but maybe just having a bit of a spell.
Well, Croft on the ground, picking up Bradshaw now. We're ready to start the second half, and Bo McDonald got first hands. That's a great tackle by Boss. Fearsome stuff. Certainly letting Rowan Smith know that he's about.
He let Alan Richardson know at the Gabba one night too. Michael Voss was one of the biggest crunches.
Oh, that was in front of me, brother. I remember that.
Wasn't that sickening?
And again, Bo McDonald getting hands to the ball. Bit of hanging on. Free kick going the way of the Brisbane Lions.
It's Sean Hart that's getting that free kick for being held when he didn't have it.
Well, Bradshaw is down in the goal square. He might go straight down that way. It's a long kick, but by the time it got there, Huskis had to compete against 3 players, and one of them was Brown.
Eagleton back on the ground too, boys, after that first half on the bench.
So Nathan Brown.
Smallest player in that pack of players, then Nathan Brown to take the mark.
Got it out to Croft, who gets it quickly onto Southern, who runs his measure and then kicks to Garlick, but he had Scott to contend with. Scott didn't take the mark. It got through to Chris Grant. Good hands. Out very wide. Crediuk sets it up. Tough one for Bartlett to get to. Doesn't get the bounce he would have liked, but it's over the line.
Well, they've got something to work with now, haven't they? The coaching staff, they see their team marginally in front, but they were left lamenting for a fair part of that first half, and their fight back towards the end of the second term was quite complimentary.
Hudson gets it out. Eagleton, as Dipper said, back on the ground. Quick kick away, Ashcroft. Akamanis will have to be good here. He just couldn't get it clear. Plunkett overran it as well. Hart, quick kick onto the wing. It's a tough one in dispute here. Out comes Lynch. His handball was not a high percentage, but it got through to Boss. Quick kick. Akamanis picks it up now. It's a vacant goal square, but it goes shorter. Not quite sure where into the pocket. He was really trying to get it, and Curley concedes it behind.
Trying to assess the crowd, I feel that we might get a pleasant surprise, because there sounds as if there's quite a lot of vocal support for Brisbane here, and we thought that they would be very much outnumbered by the Western Bulldogs fans, but it is a good crowd here for this first match indoors at Colonial Stadium. Curley has the football for the Western Bulldogs. He's not quite up to half back, still well inside his defensive 50. 10-6 plays 9-5. Just a behind added since half-time. Huskis and Crediuk, that's off the ground on the full from Crediuk. He's not happy. It certainly will be penalised, and that free kick will be taken by Akamanis. And noticeably, Akamanis kicking with the left, and it was his high up on his right
leg, that's right,
groin area that he was being attended to by the medical staff. Huskis eventually being asked to take the free kick, and he's had 2 or 3 goes, and still he can find a player near the centre of the ground, and it is McDonald. He kicks the ball inside the forward 50. Good mark. Terrific mark. Probably didn't get off the ground all that much, Alistair Lynch. Just judged it a little better than everyone else and practically marked it unopposed. Coming in, he judges it. Yes, he did jump from behind Scotty Wine and took a good mark. So Alistair Lynch yet to kick a goal for Brisbane in this match. Not far out from goal. He shoots for goal, and I think he may have missed. Disappointing result. He's kicked 3 behinds now, and you must capitalise on those opportunities if you're going to win a match like this. It's very tight. Only 8 points the margin in favour of Brisbane.
Rowan Smith. Well, he's looking up. He hasn't got much on offer. He goes for Southern, who's got 4 to beat. And it was just stuffed back in. Lynch just couldn't do anything effective. Ramiro had the time to handball to West. Oh, it was a stationary handball in the end, and Eagleton wasn't in the best position. And Bradshaw on the rebound can line
50 metres. 50 metres. And knocked the ball out of his hand.
Scotty West in trouble, boys. He's just hovering off the ground here.
So all of a sudden, things going Brisbane's way, and with West coming off, as Dipper said, a 50-metre penalty, which will certainly see another Brisbane goal. All of a sudden, they've got their prime playmaker off the ground, and they trail by 14 points. 4 goals to Daniel Bradshaw.
He's kicked 4 straight, as distinct from Alistair Lynch, who's kicked just 3 behinds. So getting plenty of value out of Daniel Bradshaw, Brisbane. And there was a couple of little flaws here coming up. Well, Scotty West must have been in trouble there, because a bit of indecision, and you don't often see that from West. And the turnover there, giving the opportunity to Bradshaw, and Curley knocking the ball out of his hands, caused the 50 metres. Bradshaw, 4 goals for Brisbane, 4 out of 11. Bulldogs trail now by 14 points. Good start to the second half by Brisbane. They trailed by 5 goals at quarter time. They trailed by 5 goals at one stage during the second term. Bartlett kicked it forward. Curley caught. Kennedy just hacks it out of there, and the mark is taken by Hunter. Looking to move it on quickly. It's all right too. Dimatina will mark. Must use this ball nicely now. Dimatina goes across the half-forward line. Darryl White, good punch from behind Chris Grant. Gathered by Hart to Leppich. Leppich can go past Danny Southern and kick it to Huskis. Huskis, good little left footer, beautifully weighted Ashcroft. Ashcroft handball, goal coming up for Brisbane. Chris Scott runs in from 40 metres, and Chris Scott has kicked a goal for Brisbane. Well, they seem to have the momentum now, Brisbane, and it's going to take a fair effort from the Bulldogs to wrest that advantage away from the Brisbane Lions.
Well, you wouldn't believe it's the same 2 teams, would you, at the moment? As we saw earlier when the Dogs got out to a 5-goal lead at quarter time. Again, with the conditions that they are here, just the rebounding from defence into attack, if the disposal is accurate, it's quite powerful.
Well, I think they're forcing a few mistakes coming from the Bulldogs now, the Brisbane side, putting a fair amount of physical and mental pressure on the opposition.
Well, Beau McDonald has done a terrific job for them since he's come onto the ground at quarter time in the centre. Free kick going the Bulldogs' way to Scotty Wine. And Dimatina, fresh legs for them. He goes very wide, and Darcy, who's now playing up in the forward line, gets some help from Bartlett, screws it back. Brisbane player in Lawrence in best position. So they've also reshuffled their forward line, now going with 3 talls in Grant, Darcy and Bartlett up forward, as well as the smaller Hudson.
He's probably going to have to kick it to Beau McDonald down here in front of us.
And he decides to go shorter, and
Did he get the advantage from the umpire there?
Well, he was in the best position, wasn't he, to be able to tell whether it was out.
Good kick, this one.
Huskis kicks it. Lynch has got a few to beat. Plunkett running backwards though, and Hunter had to be quick. Oh, he sold Curley into all sorts of trouble.
How good was the tackle though? Jared Malloy's steel in his arms, and he wasn't rewarded with the free kick. Maybe he thought Curley didn't have a chance to get rid of it. Bang, crash, wallop.
Yeah, it was a 50-50 one. Big Beau in there.
Colonial coming on for the Doggies, and Bartlett off, and the news on Scotty West, it looks like he's just jarred his left knee, just waiting to settle down and see if he can come back on the ground.
Well, they're under a lot of pressure here. Ashcroft, quick kick, just off direction. Oh, Bradshaw, how did he get that? He couldn't capitalise. Hunter might let it go out. No, he keeps it in. Oh, Croft, you better kick it quickly. He did, but it was quite wide and too wide. Ackermanis.
See, they're forcing the errors coming from the Bulldogs now. Now, what's happening here? The umpire may have blown time on, so he's asking Jason Ackermanis to do it all over again. And I repeat, you see Jason Ackermanis kicking with his left foot. So certainly still suffering a little bit from a strain high up in his right leg, around the groin area, maybe the front of the thigh. Short kick has been marked by Lappin. Lappin kicked a goal earlier in the game. Just hasn't quite hit any sort of form yet, Nigel Lappin. State player in years gone by. Shot at goal, misses to the right. So a behind added for Brisbane. 80 plays 59 all of a sudden. As the advantage for Brisbane is 21 points. So they've done things in a positive manner since about the 8-minute mark of the second term.
Again, Rowan Smith with the kicking in duties. Well, he goes very short.
It'll be a long time since the Bulldogs have kicked a goal, I would have thought.
And now Hunter can provide a target on the wing. Lynch was applying pressure. He'd want to get up quickly. He's got some loose men if he gets his eyes up. Now they've just about been manned up. So he goes in short. Oh, shocker. A shocking kick from Hunter. And will they make them pay? I'd say so. Oh, Bradshaw spilled what he really should have taken. Now Curley. Oh, that was clever. Just kept his wits about him at the last minute. A little step away. Goes long. Darcy had to stand up here and take the mark. Kennedy's spoiled. Who's going to be better at ground level? Lepich did well against Grant. Conceded the behind. And it's back to a 20-point ball game.
Scotty West just doing a couple of run-throughs just in front of me on the banjo line here.
As he looked at it.
Yeah, not too bad. I expect to come back on later on, but just waiting to see what happens after these 2 or 3 little sprints.
Just about think that the Bulldogs have got to get the next goal if they're going to win this match. They haven't kicked a goal so far in this third quarter. Brisbane with numbers. In a spot of bother across half-back, Eagleton on Chris Scott. Umpire Mark McKenzie quickly on the scene to bounce the ball 50 metres from the Bulldog goal. 20 points the margin. Couple of goals in this term to Brisbane. Dimartina's kick good. Ramiro, not much he could do there. That ball bounced emphatically straight at him. Well done by Martin. Kicks it in towards the centre of the ground where Lawrence onto Lappin. Lappin wide at a Hart. Hart now kicks it down the line. Power, who was quite productive early in the match, kicked a goal in the second term. Power's kick into the pocket. Bradshaw punched away by Croft. Malloy to confront Curley. So was Bradshaw. They've put some pressure on that full back line. Well done Ramiro. Plunkett, Southern, and now Grant.
Grant. Well, that just shows what is the story at the moment for the Dogs. Grant going deep into defence. Gets it out to Collingwood, and now onto the wing. Darcy has to be good here. He's caught. He's gone, and should be penalised, and he is.
Gee, there's one bloke you wouldn't try and get past. I think it's Michael Voss.
Well, he took him on. I know he didn't have many options, but he did take him on and paid the penalty. It was a great tackle.
Yeah, maybe Steve Crediel could have worked a little more manfully to keep Michael Voss away from Luke Darcy there.
Very wide with the kick. Good bustling from Grant, and he takes the mark, and he'll get 50. Unnecessary, Alistair. So the Dogs desperate here to score from this foray forward. And
good mark actually under the circumstances by Steve Collingwood.
Late-ish contact from White, but nothing too serious. Well, he hasn't got much on offer. Darcy is lurking down there. But Grant is not a target. He's well up the field. Or he goes short. And it wasn't a great kick. Eagleton. Oh, Malloy was just so strong. But Grant coming forward from his position, I think across centre half back now, kicking it high, up to 50. Again though, it's Brisbane in best position. Huskis, this is Power. Lepich, a little hesitant, and his kick wasn't good. Dimartina, can he create something? He goes across the ground.
Oh, well done.
Standing mark to Darryl White.
And that's the match-up at the moment. Darryl White playing on Collingwood, so giving away a lot of height there.
Probably nearly could have held it up there, Nigel Lappin. Not a lot to kick to. Michael Voss not advantaged there by the awkward bouncing ball. Crediel. Grant. Now Southern. into the centre, chopped off. Brisbane with 2 or 3 to 2. Down goes Eagleton. Liberatore there to try and scunge it, and not able to get the ball away there, Tony Liberatore. And Nathan Eagleton to regain his footing, and the umpire will bounce.
You get the feeling this match is sort of,
juggling.
as you said, the next goal.
Yep. Well, I'd certainly think it's got to come from the Bulldogs, because if Brisbane, there's been a little bit of a tightness of the play, if you can say that. Just 2 goals to 0, and it has been a bit of an Indian arm wrestle. So if Brisbane get it and go 4 goals clear, it's going to be half a psychological battle won by the Brisbane side. Nathan Brown kicks it out wide. Jared Malloy desperate. Garlick equally as desperate. Malloy to tackle. Second effort terrific. Martin well done to Lawrence. Lawrence goes into the pocket. Good spotting. Marcus taken here by Power. Power goes in towards the goal square. Bradshaw. Still Bradshaw has missed. His first miss for the night. Daniel Bradshaw, 4 goals, 1
The Bulldogs have shown their hand, Robbo. The Bulldogs have shown their hand. I mean, Chris Grant is playing loose man on the back line down here, and Darcy's gone up forward with Rowan Smith. So I'd say one of the best forwards down back.
Just looking through the glasses to the outer side of the ground, a couple of very big bits of turf have been dug up, so I'm sure they'll get to that at 3/4 time. A little bit dangerous. The ball kicked out to half-back. Eagleton takes the mark. Oh, his kick was smothered. It was curly. And that just about sums it up at the moment, doesn't it, for the Dogs?
And I think that the Brisbane side can see the inexperienced young Beau McDonald doing a good job there. He's in the team to play as a ruckman, but he did a terrific job in just stopping that attempted foray forward for the Bulldogs.
I must say, though, considering that Barbara was singing here on Friday night, you wouldn't know, would you, that the rest of the surface looks in great shape?
No, it's come up pretty good.
Babs to some other people, Hutto.
Well, you're probably on familiar terms, you socialite. You're probably sitting in the front seat here the other night.
No, I was working.
Oh, yeah.
Working beautifully, Dipper, as always. Black, quick with the hands.
Well done.
They are on top, aren't they, in the packs at the moment? Charging out, Bradshaw.
Gee, that could have really been deemed as a throw.
Now Eagleton, can they turn this into something? It was a long, low kick. It might be okay. It gets through to Rowan Smith, who's playing it full forward. He needs to kick this. He needs to do it, and he's done it.
I think that was the goal that the Bulldogs fans were searching for. You could see the effort. They were putting the effort in. They were getting the arm into a position where they could crush the arm in the arm wrestle, but they weren't able to put it away, Brisbane. And the Bulldogs just sniffing a little chance there. Rowan Smith, he's an excellent kick of the football, whether on the run straight down the ground or on that occasion just a little hook kick, and he directed that through beautifully for Bulldogs' 10th goal. So the margin back to 15 points. Brisbane lead 81 to 66. Go forward again. Gee, that in past years has been deemed as a throw. The hand pass coming over the head, being given the all clear on this occasion. Croft goes out very wide. Awkward bouncing ball. Grant, well done. Handball support coming from Hunter. Still Hunter. Inboard, wind, still Hunter. Beautiful running.
He can go all the way,
He
Robert.
can nearly kick a goal. Line it up and kick it. It's coming back. It's a goal. Goal of the year. If anyone can beat that, you'll get to see it. Kingsley Hunter's gone the length of the ground, full Manasseh style, and has kicked a magnificent goal for the Bulldogs.
You can see that coming. Fantastic play.
Well, the link work there is Scotty Wine. And how often do you see a player, after a long run, not being able to put a decent kick up?
I don't think that was such a decent kick, but it did everything right that went through, didn't it? Outside 50 as well. That could lift them. That could be a very, very emotional part of the game, that.
Well, what a game this is now. 12-9 to 11-6. Still 7 minutes remaining in this quarter. Grant, who's been moved upfield.
We might find Grant now playing midfield.
Yeah. And I think it's not a bad move, Dipper.
Well, he's sort of a very agile player, isn't he?
Wind against McDonald. Oh, that was clever. Whether he meant it or not, it's another story. Hart up to 50. Oh, Southern went for the big ride. Staying down, Dimatina. And that's a shove. Was it in the back? No, in the side, says the umpire. Scott. He's got a loose man at half forward. It's a good-looking kick. It's power. And he's too far out to score. Back in the goal square is Bradshaw. He takes him on. And then he goes for Bradshaw, who leads into the pocket. Tough angle, but certainly within distance.
That's a good sign, isn't it, for a young player that hasn't played a lot of football, Luke Power. Just assessing the situation and realising that he was in a bit of an awkward spot. And to get past his opponent by doing exactly what he did, gave him the chance to deliver to Bradshaw.
So Bradshaw being very effective in front tonight. Steered it just the wrong side. So we've got a 10-point ball game now. And given that the Dogs went out to a 5-goal lead and then Brisbane came back led by 22 points, who knows where it's going to go from here.
I think it's been a very interesting match right from the start when the Bulldogs got off to an excellent lead. But Brisbane, to be complimented, have made a terrific contest of it. That kick-in has been well marked by Hunter. Hunter goes very wide, player on his own out there is Dimatina. He's had an impact since coming off the bench. Kicks in short, well done. That's much better by Paul Dimatina. Onto the chest of Hudson, goes into half forward to Boss, filling the gap at half back. Can go into the centre to McDonald, but goes wider still and finds Power. He's had half a dozen possessions in this third quarter. He just drops it into the middle of the ground where Darryl White takes the mark to Lappin. Usually delivers pretty well on the run. Goes to Dimatina. Bradshaw nearly dispossessed him. The ball spills to the ground now. Brock. He's well tackled by Martin. Got the handball away. Well done. Very critical that he did just that. Hudson into the full forward area and Darcy's marked 50 metres from goal. Been a little quiet, Luke Darcy tonight, but can still contribute. 10 points the margin. Luke Darcy. Opportunity to bridge that gap by 6 points, maybe. Going to take a big kick to score. Player on the mark 50 metres from goal. Darcy goes long. Beautiful kick. Is that a mark? No, it's a behind, I would say. A behind kick by Luke Darcy. So the margin now 9 points in favour of Brisbane after at one stage leading by 22 points. And it wasn't that long ago. The Bulldogs have kicked the last couple. Took them a long time to get their first goal of the quarter, and they've kicked the last 2 goals in this third term.
Lepic's kick, does it have the carry? McDonald was pretty good in the end. Power didn't have a lot of support, but his kick was excellent. Unable to take it, Lawrence, but he fires up with a tackle, but Plunkett got clear. Kicked it up the half forward, 2-on-1.
Well done.
And great mark, Lappin. Lepic is there in support, and he receives now. He looks up, he might go back, a little bit laconic, but he finds Lappin. Good shepherding, Darryl White. Lappin carries it through half back. Scott at full tilt. Up the centre half forward. Lynch wrestling, did well. Didn't complete the grab though. Here's Bradshaw, hand pass, trying to get it back to Lynch. Curley, Ackermanis, oh brilliant handball, Hart will kick a goal. Great play by the Lions. Great play by the Lions.
The value is the experienced, confident Ackermanis still being able to do something at ground level. Knowing that he's under a little bit of difficulty with that right arm, you can watch him here help Lynch eventually get the hand pass out and set it up for Hart, who didn't let his supporters or his team down. But Alistair Lynch, deft little toe poke, really set it up, didn't it? And then combination between 2 Brisbane forwards.
Kingsley Hunter now limping as well, playing on Lynch, so we'll keep an eye on him.
Nigel Lappin has lifted his game too in this third quarter. Black gets the ball down. Voss kicks it forward. Curley under a bit of pressure. Garlick there to assist. Goes out wide. Dimatina marks. He's between right back pocket and right half back. Kicks it into the path of Ramiro. Ramiro in turn has found Brown in front of Chris Scott. Brown quick to play on, around onto that left foot. Thumps it, nearly to the goal square. Oh, terrific mark. Rowan Smith from behind had the leap, the run, the jump, and affected the mark beautifully.
It was a perfect kick.
Second goal of the quarter. Go, Dick.
Yeah, it was a perfect kick there. Just kept it up high for Smithy and put it in his area. He just took a terrific mark. I don't see a lot of marks like that these days.
Yeah, it was the old get rid of your opponent with your legs, wasn't it?
Yeah, the good old days.
Well, Rowan Smith has kicked a couple. He really should kick this directly in front. And it looks okay. He's got it. 3 goals to Rowan Smith. And after it took the Bullies a long time in this third term to get their first goal of the quarter, they've now kicked 3. Brisbane have also kicked 3 goals in this third term.
Well, that was the move as Terry Wallace adjusting his forward line. We mentioned earlier Rowan Smith the full forward, Chris Grant up the ground and Darcy back into the forward line, and it's worked. So 79 to 88, and again the plot thickens here. Dogs with an answering goal. They just crash into everyone there. Grant on top of it, and a ball up. I just wonder about how the players will go in the last quarter. It's been pretty frantic all night, Dipper, out there.
Yeah, sensational. I mean, I'm just watching Scotty West here. Looks like he might be coming back on shortly, boys. Yes, the pace has been very, very fast and furious all night.
And McDonald has done a good job, as we've said several times. Ramiro also been amongst the possessions.
This bloke's played a fair game too, Martin, across that half-back line.
I don't think there's much doubting his ability.
Got to go short.
Kennedy does go short. Black will try and get around onto his left. Does that now. Kicked it high, a little bit short, and it was all right. Well, they almost competed against each other there. Headland coming in. Ashcroft's handball ineffective. Taken by Hudson, kicks it to half forward. Wide against Darcy, stood the ground. Collingwood, good work. Just got the tap on when they needed. Darcy off his wrong boot. Not a bad kick though for Smith again. Crashing into the pack. Leppich, Brown, good chase. He's got the pace. He overruns it, Brown, but he can get clear, yes. What's he going to do? He'll kick it backwards. It wasn't bad division. Collingwood, he's not bad in front of goal. Just can't find the room. Handball. Chris Grant off the left. You'd back him, I reckon, off the left. Oh, it's a poster.
One goal through to Chris Grant. That was a good shot at goal, wasn't it? Only centimetres in it, one way or the other. Amazing, you put him in front 40 metres out, deliberate shot at goal. He can't kick them, but he's such a good kicker of football in field play. Leppich kicked to himself, and then after running out of the square, got it to Ashcroft. Ashcroft, Darryl White, Grant in front. Should not be paid the mark because Darryl White had first hands on it. Darcy throwing the ball. Umpire didn't quite pick that up. Headland for Brisbane. Kicks it to half forward. Good mark taken by Lynch. Now they've got to get a goal out of this. They must get a goal out of this. Lynch kicks in towards full forward. Croft, well done. He was prostrate on his stomach, Matthew Croft, when he punched it away. Curley, turnover terrific for the Bullies. Collingwood in short at the feet of Brown. Bounced awkwardly for that player. Knocked forward by Liberatore. Hart caught. Scott. There was a free kick in that passage of play. The advantage went to Brisbane. Scott to Ackermanis. Ackermanis into half forward. Gathered here by Black. Well tackled by Plunkett. Kicked away by Eustace. Not quite far enough. He's in there underneath. He's got it clear. He's going to be penalised. There's the siren, so it doesn't really matter. Siren to signal the end of the third quarter, and it was a fantastic third quarter. The Bulldogs kicked 3 goals. The Lions kicked 3. But it might have been the Bulldogs that kicked the last 3 goals of the quarter. Maybe Brisbane interrupted with the last one. But at 3-quarter time, it is 88 to 80, an 8-point margin in favour of Brisbane.
Because they've been really terrific for after 2 quarters there, but a very tight game, I think.
All right, we're underway in the last quarter, and it should be a great one. 8 points the difference. It's really been a frenetic battle all night. Free kick advantage will come back. Oh, no,
he should have given him the kick again.
No, that is terrible.
There was no advantage in the finish.
There's been a few bad blues tonight. No, they have every right to be upset about that. Libba stopped. Ashcroft kicks the ball to centre half forward.
This kid's been very promising.
Power and a beautiful kick. And this boy has certainly given them something since he's come on the ground. His mobility, he's leading.
What Power's done is he's used the ball. You probably won't see that he's had big stats, but he's been very, very effective with his usage of the football.
Well, no better example than there. It wasn't much of a gap to kick the ball in. Well, obviously this is going to make it tough for the Bulldogs. If he can kick this, it'll be 14 points, and it looks good. It's an excellent kick from Bradshaw. And that's 5 goals for Daniel Bradshaw. 5 goals too. 14-10 to 12-8. But they really cruelled the Dogs, didn't they?
Oh, look, I think, you know, the players get the chance to keep on watching video after video after video to highlight the errors they make. When the umpire sees that blatant mistake that he made, it certainly was no advantage to the Bulldogs when Liberatore was grabbed by the jumper, so it should have automatically come back and the kick should have been taken again.
Again, it comes back to common sense, though.
Of course it is, yep, no doubt. Maybe a blood rule here. Gee, we'll have a microscope out here shortly to try and find some blood on a player. That looks like a scun knee, is it? He's laughing, Michael Voss.
Yeah, most of the players who've run off tonight have had that problem. Bit of grazing on the knees here.
Dipper, before the game started, you picked up some little pieces of what looked like the remains of plastic cups, plastic drink containers.
Champagne glasses, and we had a lot of
you
players.
You left them there, did you, Dipper, the other night?
No,
is it feasible that there might be still some of it lying around?
I'd say there would be, Robert. They had a lot of people on the ground here, about 50, 60 people just picking up little bits and pieces.
Well, Hart gets them out of the middle again, and excellent pace. Oh, it didn't bounce well for Black. He probably didn't need to bounce it. Got himself in a bit of trouble, Ackermanis. There's Power. He's pretty well tackled in the end. He cocked it up. The umpire said that was okay.
Isn't it easy from here? Simon Black going forward, just a little deft hand pass off to the left, and I'm sure he would have. It just looks so obvious from here, but maybe the pressure of the moment.
So they're deep in attack. Malloy against Wine. Ramiro, well tackled. Malloy's persistence.
Hunter's in trouble, boys, as I mentioned, but at 3/4 time. He's come off the ground now, and Bartlett will replace him. He'll pick up Lynch, and while I'm on it, Scotty West's knee is okay. We're not risking him tonight.
So he won't be back?
No.
That behind forced by Jared Malloy was a bit like a rugby try, wasn't it? Just physical stuff to get the ball over the line. Admittedly, he only scored a behind, but in the closeness of this match, you just never can tell.
Well, it doesn't look good there with Hunter. Hard to see him coming back. And he's got the reoccurring problem. As Curley kicks them in. Line was the target. They've worked it out the back, the Dogs. Ramiro. Oh, it wasn't a great handball. Made it pretty tough for Bartlett. Ashcroft quickly feeds the pass. Ackermanis. Oh, Bradshaw almost stole it. He's still... Oh, Crouch! Oh, too high, said the umpire. I'd like to see that again.
I think it was a little overzealous by Matthew Croft. He could have gone in just a little softer and still tied him up over the top with the left. It was a very ferocious tackle.
He did that probably, didn't he?
It probably didn't need to be as ferocious as it turned out to be.
Well, 21 points would be a very big margin, but in the context of the way the game's been played, you certainly wouldn't write off the Bulldogs, but it's a big kick for Brisbane. And he made good contact. He made excellent contact, and he's got 6. 6 big ones for Daniel Bradshaw.
That makes it difficult, doesn't it? The first couple of goals of the last term has just busted the game open a little bit. 21 points now the margin in favour of the Lions. And you can look at this a million times over, and you'll probably come up with half in favour of Daniel Bradshaw and half in favour of Matthew Croft. It's just the luck of the draw. Sometimes the decisions go your way, sometimes again Brisbane's favour. Coaching staff looks still fairly composed there for the Bulldogs. Same on the other side of the ledger for Brisbane. Bo McDonald gets first hand to it. Garlick couldn't break away. I think that's the area that certainly the Brisbane side lifted after about halfway through the first quarter when they were towelled around that area by the Bulldogs. They had plenty of loose men when they broke away from half back and around the middle of the ground. They kicked 7 goals to 2 in the first term, but it's been Brisbane from there on. They're going to mop up here again. Black to Voss, straightens up, kicks towards the goal square. Bradshaw got his hands on it again. Plunkett, little hand pass. Curley goes very wide and effectively finds Garlick, not Garlick, yes it is, Simon Garlick on right half back flank. Goes past the wing, but the mark was taken by Darryl White. He's played a fair game too, Darryl White. He manned up on Chris Grant early, but he's been quite reliable for most of the match. Short kick is good. Scott did some running there to provide a target, and then plays on and kicks in towards full forward. Malloy from behind. Darcy couldn't take the mark. Malloy's second effort. Curley kicks it away for the Bulldogs back to the middle of the ground.
Once again, though, it breaks down. Gee, the umpire let that go. Smith, quick with the hands. Perennial quickly smothered. Lappard on the rebound. Lynch in good position here to mark it. He props. He couldn't take it. Huskus lets Malloy in. Across the face, still it's alive. Crofts built it, power. Oh, Ackermanis! And Brisbane are just about home. It'll take a mighty effort from here. They've got the momentum, they've kicked 3. The Dogs arguing over that one.
Well, it certainly looked like a comedy of errors in the finish, didn't it? Look at the big chunk of dirt that Jason Ackermanis has brought up after he kicked that ball off the ground to register Brisbane's 16th goal. But forcing the ball back to the front of the goals was the error that the Bulldog defenders made, and Ackermanis jumped on that chance. McDonald to Voss. Huskus, Lappin Black. Black now. In towards full forward, Malloy up high, couldn't take the mark. Bradshaw and Southern, still Malloy to try and keep it alive. Disappointed with the result. Got his right knee heavily strapped there, Jared Malloy. We saw him just prop and cop in the, I think it was the third quarter, where we looked as that we thought maybe hyperextended that right knee. And the medical staff...
Just covering a gash there, Robbo.
Is it? Fair enough, Dip. Scotty Wine puts a big left fist to it. Grant and Lappin. 107 plays 80, 27-point margin now. And the Bulldogs, since quarter time, have only added 5 goals. Since quarter time, Brisbane have added 14. That was where the clot of dirt was taken out of the ground by Jason Ackermanis.
They're playing golf out there, Robbo.
Looks like it, doesn't it? Luke Power important there again. Ashcroft very good. Oh, and Hart runs into Croft.
That could be 50.
Nothing wrong with that.
No, I think it was just sort of trying to hold the boy up. He could see he's taken the mark and just holding him
was
up.
committed as well, but just good his ground.
Yeah, no, he actually did it quite cleanly, didn't he?
It's a basketball screen.
No, the board where the coaches shuffle the players around to try and get the matchups. You can't quite make out names. Wind there and Eagleton, Dimatina, Liberatore in the middle there. So we're right onto the action there with the camera work down there on the boundary line, but we're now watching Sean Hart go for goal. Not bad stats by the midfielder. He's kicked 1. And that kick will just about finish off the Bulldogs. We've been into this term now for about 10 minutes. There's still plenty left, 15 minutes left. But all the scoring in the last term has been done by Brisbane. They have added 4 goals, and the Bulldogs yet to add to their third quarter score line. 12-8 they were at three-quarter time. They remain on 12-8. The Lions are 17-11.
Well, it would take an amazing effort from here. We have said several times how it's a very free-flowing game, particularly in the first half. And the Lions out of the middle have just been outstanding since quarter time. And there they go again, just teaming up. Oh, and here's another one coming up. No, it's a bad miss at the end from Alistair Lynch, who's been pretty inaccurate. 4 behinds. And he's kicked tonight. Plenty of Fitzroy fans now barracking for the Brisbane Lions are here tonight. And the margin out to 34 points, and the Doggies need to turn things around. I'm not sure how they can do it. Garlick goes out very wide to Danny Southern. He gets it out further. Bartlett went to ground. Did he get a free? Yes, he did. Perhaps a little lucky, but he did certainly get hands in the back. Good quick kick. Plunkett. Here's a kick and a half out from goal. He'll set this up, a wobbly one, tough for the full forward. Credit
oh, good mark.
Who stood up and marked in front of Chris Grant. So they need to slot this one and then get another one quickly.
He's a funny type, Steve Crediock, isn't he?
He's in between, isn't he?
Yeah, he made his name as a dour defender, as you mentioned earlier. You know, picking up the reasonable-sized key forward or goal kicker. But they've placed a lot of faith in him. I think you said that he's played on Nathan Buckley.
Oh, he's handballed it. No, the umpire won't let him.
Why not?
Oh, I don't know.
Maybe against that.
He may not have blown time on, back on. Don't know why he handballed in the first place. So Perennial kicks the goal. Maybe because he's a defender. He wasn't confident, or maybe it's because he had a sore leg.
Well, it's kept them in with a chance. I mean, there's still plenty of time left, but they've got to kick 5 unanswered goals to get in front, and that's going to be a tough task. You can kick the 5, but surely the opportunities for Brisbane will be there in the remaining 14 minutes for them to get at least one. So the odds are very much against the Bulldogs. Well, he did pretty well, didn't he, Steve Crediock? First to mark that awkward ball that came in. There was a very ordinary kick coming in from Plunkett, but he did very well to mark it and kick the goal.
They've got to get it out of the middle here, Robbo. That's absolutely crucial.
Well, it's Wills, left foot kick high. No mark, punched away. Those bombs are easy to get rid of, and that's the way the Brisbane side have been playing. Their percentage is very good. Leppich shrugged the tackle from Grant, went in towards half-back, probably not the percentages there. Ashcroft tackled by Liberatore. Umpire sees that as unfair. Now a 50-metre penalty. So the Bulldogs have given away 2 or 3 50-metre penalties tonight. Very early in the game, Luke Power, I think it was, no, Brett Voss kicked the goal as a result of a 50-metre penalty. And now Tony Liberatore not happy. I thought that tackle was all right. And I thought when he tackled, Marcus Ashcroft was off balance. He was going to ground anyway. So again, Brisbane advantaged by a decision made by the umpire. Bartlett takes the mark across half-back.
And goes in short to Darcy, who just pops it up. Cox hasn't seen much game time. He's got Wills running on the wing. He's got to take this and run with it. He doesn't quite grab it. He's got to get rid of it. He's gone. And to be honest, he was pretty lucky. It was a tough one for him to take. Roof closed tonight at Colonial. First time ever for premiership points. And it has created a lot of noise. Terrific atmosphere, that's for sure. Oh, Martin somehow found his way out of that. He knew the boundary line was close. Maybe he knew that Power and Ackermanis were also close. And Ackermanis chips it to the top of the square. Not really to the advantage of Malloy. Southern did pretty well. And it's over and out, but precious seconds wasted for the Dogs. 28 points the margin. And not from the cheap seats there. These days at the footy, you can watch all the action with your own personal screen. It is an amazing stadium, that's for sure. Well played by Bartlett. Liberatore now, Cox again. As we said, just on the ground. Goes for Crediok. It won't be easy against Kennedy one-on-one. Kennedy the spoil. Big McDonald has been just so influential since he's been on the ground. They fight for it in the middle. Was that a free holding the man? Yes, it was. Advantage taken quickly. Collingwood kicks it quickly. The umpire not paying the advantage in the end. Changed his mind.
Important disputed ball there around the middle of the ground, and you can see the urgency on the faces of the players in that area when they know that, you know, one side takes the advantage away when they can clear that. And on this occasion, it happens to be the Bulldogs.
Goes very wide to Curley. Oh, he's going to go wider into the pocket. It really wasn't the most high percentage of options, and certainly not the quickest way home, and they're in a position at the moment where they need to score heavily if they're to win this game. 17-12 the Lions, 13-8 the Dogs. The ball thrown into the forward pocket. Rowan Smith and White, two unlikely combatants at that throw-in. Kick away Ashcroft into the centre. In dispute, Wills. Oh, he's done pretty well there, Collingwood, to get around to the left. And he spears the pass in. Dimatina takes them on. Not sure it was a great decision. In the end, it comes off. A thumping kick to the square. But Hudson had too much height and strength to compete with, and it's Lepich that holds them up.
He's grown in stature, hasn't he, in the last couple of years. He started his career with a bad knee injury, but gee, he's been a good player. All-Australian with Jason Ackermanis last year, and I think they dead-heated for the best and fairest from memory. Darryl White looks as though he's in a bit of pain there, grabbing an ankle or a shin. Amazing when you've been paid the mark and you're going to get the kick. You can recover fairly quickly. Goes into Ashcroft. He's been a prolific possession gatherer again tonight. He's just an absolute accumulator, Marcus Ashcroft. Reasonable vision. Beau McDonald presented himself on the back end of the square and has marked for Brisbane. Decides to kick the ball fairly long. In dispute, Black gathers, throws onto the left, gathered by Power, good hand pass. Ackermanis will kick a goal, won't he? Jason Ackermanis, if you don't mind. Well, I'll tell you what, if he's injured, he hasn't done a bad job, Jason Ackermanis. He kicked a goal off the ground earlier in this term, and he's kicked that goal on the run with the left. He is a natural right footer. We think he's got a bit of a strain high above the right leg and close to the groin area, but he did this beautifully, and he has kicked the 18th goal for Brisbane.
Ackermanis kicks his second, but I think two players will be close to the votes tonight, Beau McDonald and Simon Black, both involved in that passage of play. This is where the Dogs, if there to be any chance, need to get the ball going from the middle. Collingwood, and a good kick, and Grant takes the mark. No time to waste, goes back, kicks it for the open goal, but he misses. Didn't make good contact. Lawrence, and on the rebound, not an enormous amount on offer for Hart, but he did well to get it back in the end to Chris Scott, who kicks quickly out wide. Cox got in front of Lynch, did pretty well. And Dimatina handballs, and that was a good option. Credial goes with a centering kick. Oh, he waited back for Ramiro. Good attack on the footy from Lappin. Oh, what was that? That was a party trick. Darryl White.
The old tunnel ball days.
Yeah, the old schoolyard. Eagleton. Too far out to score. He'll have to thump it. Oh, he takes him on. Not bad thinking. Now he's within range. Good contact. Great kick, great goal from Nathan Eagleton. Inspirational.
Too little, too late, you would think, wouldn't you? Still, they need 5 goals, unanswered goals to win in 9 minutes. Brisbane seem to have the answers. This was a pretty good passage of play. Darryl White being free kicked. And then Nathan Eagleton, probably too far out to score, decided that it was an opportunity to maybe run past Darryl White. He succeeded in doing that, and importantly kicked a goal. So Eagleton kicks a goal for the Bulldogs, and they're still in there with some sort of a sniff. Dimatina run down by Scott. Grant pinched the ball. Handball to Ramiro, little fumble. Wider still, Hudson will kick it, won't he? I would say that's a goal. The look of the goal umpire, it is a goal. So they're not lying down, the Dogs, not by any stretch of the imagination. 3 goals to Paul Hudson, keeps his goals per game average up close to 2 goals per match. Chris Grant was pretty good here. First of all, gave the hand pass away. Ramiro's slight fumble. Wider for Hudson. Give him some space, and he'll make you pay for any mistakes that you've made, Paul Hudson.
I hate to labour the point. I know it's the same really at any match, but when the teams have got the ball straight out of the middle, they have just scored goals so often tonight, haven't they?
No doubt about that.
Straight down.
Yep.
Down almost the direct corridor to the goals. Let's see what happens this time. And it's Darcy, who's just been a bit more competitive in the last 5 or 10 minutes, who gets the Dogs going, and they go through centre half forward. Hard under pressure, went backwards a long way.
Not bad, actually. He's forced a boundary throw in. If he allows Crediuk maybe to bustle him off the ball, Crediuk may have been able to just squeeze another chance for the Bulldogs. Margin 22 points. He could have maybe brought it back to 16 with about 8 minutes left.
Well, there's still a chance for that. 8 minutes 20 on the clock, as you can see. Grant grabs it. Couldn't get it clean a possession as he would have liked, but he did get it to Collingwood, who chips it up. Oh, Garlick didn't take it. It was under pressure from Boss. He can make amends here. Gets clear. He's gone. Oh, Simon Garlick.
What about Daryl White?
Great persistence.
You have to do that. I mean, it is a game of centimetres, isn't it? You can't afford not to make total effort. Watch Daryl White here. Yeah. That is desperate stuff. Just centimetres to retard him.
That was heartbreaking stuff for Garlick. And there's a bad fumble from Martin. Those little things can make the difference in this sort of pressure situation. As a result, the Dogs going forward. Brown, how's the handling of the ball? Who was under a fair bit of pressure, wasn't he? That was great, Lappin, just instinctive stuff. You can't teach that, I don't think. Black, quick kick forward to half forward. Good work, Curley. Dimatina. Oh,
power good.
A lot of pressure out there. Black from either boot. Gets it forward, and it's out of bounds, and that's not where the Dogs want it to be. And now I'd say it's just about beyond them.
Great tackle with Daryl White, but that could have been a goal there for the Doggies and put them right back in the game here. But now we find the ball back up the 4 line for the Lions. Terrific, just one good tackle like that.
I've been doing a little bit of homework and found out that Stephen Crediuk, when he kicked that goal earlier in the term, has kicked 10 goals now in his entire career over 9 seasons. Jared Malloy couldn't do much with that little kick. Still Brown. Goes out wide, and did that bounce on the line? No, it didn't. It was over on the full. So free kick out there to Nigel Lappin. Looks to run on. He's got Voss in support. Voss kicks to the square. Oh, great leap and mark to Bradshaw. Again, he needed 2 grabs. But who cares, Daniel, because you've got the ball right on the end of the square? No, what's happening? The other umpire's coming in to signal may have been touched off the boot.
Yep, says Dimatina touched it. What a pity.
It was a good leap. But umpire Mark McKenzie has overruled Gavin Dorr and decided to bounce the ball right in front of the Lions' goal. Voss will kick a goal. Black was good again. Voss gets the goal. Gee, there's a great feeling and look of exuberation, isn't there, when they strive hard, and there's a combination of 2 or 3 players. Admittedly, this young fella's kicked the goal, Michael Voss, but Bo McDonald has to do the ruck work. Simon Black has got to get the hand pass out. Voss does the finishing, which was quite clean in the finish, but it's a team effort. There's 18 plus the 4 on the interchange bench, and you've all got to do your little bit, as was seen by Daryl White's tackle at the other end of the ground just a moment or so ago.
6.5 minutes remaining, and the job just too much for the Dogs now. Daryl White. There's Nathan Brown. And this will really hurt the Bulldogs. Lappin, Power, Black. What a young star he is. Poster. They would have really been pumped for this game, the Dogs, after the history between these two teams. And to get away to a 5-goal lead at quarter time and see it slip. And they have gone down by about that margin. So a 10-goal turnaround from the end of the first quarter to the end of the game. And also, I guess, important considering it was the first night, the first home game at Colonial. But still, it is only one match, and they did win last week against Adelaide. There's always next week. Cox taking it through the centre of the ground, headed for Perennial, who gathers it. Oh, Martin well wrapped up.
Did well, Brisbane, in the finish.
They did do well. Lynch, the little give. Huskis been fairly quiet tonight. There's an excellent pass.
He's kicked 6 goals, this young fella, and if he gets another one...
He would have had 7 if that last one hadn't have been tough.
Well, too true. But if he kicks this 7 out of 20, and you've won a game by about 5 goals, he's done a pretty good job down there as a focal point for Brisbane on that full forward line.
Considering how much the forward line was struggling early on, too.
Yep. Amazingly, I think a stat that came from last week was that this young bloke hasn't played, apart from his first match last week, missed all of last year.
Yep. He had an injury and then spent the rest of the year in the QSFL.
Well, good on him, because you can see his ball handling not quite spot on at the moment, but another confidence booster for him in this match.
And he's kicked it beautifully. It's another one. 7 big goals to Daniel.
They create a certain amount of potency, don't they? You know, Lynch takes a tall, strong defender. So you've got to find a tall defender to match up on Daniel Bradshaw. He can take a good mark. He's certainly a good finisher, as we've seen.
Well, they've got Malloy.
And Malloy with a bit of strength as well.
McRae often plays up forward.
Well, as I said, they only kicked 2 goals in the first term. They've kicked 18 goals in 3 quarters of football. Their first quarter was ordinary by their standards. Bulldogs kicked 7 against that 2 in the first term. Bullies have kicked 8. Brisbane have kicked 18 since quarter time. Darcy couldn't break away and he's been penalised. Ball will come back. Free kick will be paid to Chris Scott down there in the middle of the ground. Tough nut. Ball all the way down at left half forward for Brisbane, and having to be relayed back to Chris Scott, who's not that far away from the centre circle. Wouldn't be very long left in this match, I wouldn't think, into time on in the last quarter, as Chris Scott has the football. Just decides to retain possession by going laterally to McDonald. He's quite happy to hang on to it and goes back to Scott.
Well, you got to wonder what the point of all this is, really, don't you? They're in front by so much. There's Mr. Popular.
Still getting the boos of the Bulldogs supporters.
Come on, Alistair, get on with it. He does. Kicks it high. Malloy didn't take it. Zimatina was quick with the kick. Oh, courage required. Bartlett showed it. Slapped away quickly. And good follow-up work from Bartlett. Into the pocket. Good kick. Hudson marks. Didn't play on. Decided to go back and have the shot. And that was the right thing to do. He goes for a pass. Well, the idea was okay. The execution wasn't. Cox couldn't get to it. And now on the rebound, Voss, a little sidestep, just glides around Wills. Hand pass out in front of Martin. Takes his time and then kicks very wide into the pocket. And this time Bradshaw has it knocked away.
Maybe the better selection there for Martin could have been short, I think was Brett Voss. It was going to be a slightly more difficult kick, but kicking to a situation where the defender was advantaged by just coming in away from the back and knocking the ball clear over the boundary line, he'd have another look and maybe decide that he could have erred there. In the forward pocket, Bartlett, Brown, Wills. A little kick by Wills is all right. Croft takes the mark at centre-half back. Handball back to Wills. Running support from the full-back line. Kick the ball from the centre of the ground. Nearly the mark to Leppich. Gathered by Rowan Smith. Runs away from Hart. Rowan Smith from outside 50. That's a beautiful kick. That is a goal to Rowan Smith. That's his 4th goal. He is the Bulldogs' leading individual goal kicker. 4, Hudson 3, 2 each to Kolonyuk and Ramiro. And for Brisbane, undoubtedly, Daniel Bradshaw with 7. Geez, a good kick at the football, isn't he, Rowan Smith? I mean, playing across the full-back and half-back line, he pinpoints players down the ground, 40 to 45 metres away, hits them on the chest. Have a rest, Darryl. Have a little spell, Darryl. Yeah, that's the idea. It's good friendly stuff, isn't it?
Well, it's got everything, the seats these days. It's got the stats.
That's something we haven't got.
Well, I'm glad that was you that said that, not me. The ball out of the middle. 2.5 minutes remaining in the game.
Free kick.
How much of those seats cost? We might get one. Garlick out wide. Rowan Smith pops it into the pocket, and that's okay. And the mark is taken there by Eagleton.
He's pinched a metre or so, the player on the mark, which is pretty good stuff.
Well, we'll take a big kick from here. He runs fairly close, sets it up to the top of the square. Darcy had a big run at it. Darryl White tried to take a speggy. The umpire said, no way, Darryl. Play on is the call. Wills might kick a goal.
It's a goal.
He has a good crack at it, and he's put it through. So back to 23 points, a couple of belated goals to the Dogs. Andrew Wills, Geelong, Fremantle, and now the Doggies.
Well, he just manufactured something there, Wills, and it was a struggle. 17th goal, kick for the Bulldogs. Now another blood rule, is there? Wills, the goal kicker, Black to take time on the bench. Probably at this late stage, knowing that the result is not in doubt, you'd reckon Black may go there and stay there.
What a player he's been tonight.
Yeah, terrific. Well, most of the Brisbane boys would be looking at last week's match and saying that they could all do a lot better. And tonight, it's been a pretty good even team performance, 2013 to 17-8.
Still awake down there, Dipper, eh?
Quite a few goal kickers. He's just entertaining his fans. Quite a few goal kickers for Brisbane. Individual, about 12 of them have kicked goals. Michael Voss trying to get into the action. Croft misses the ball at full-back. Bartlett handballing. Southern. Goal kick by Malloy. Oh, Malloy. Dark lanes and Jared Malloy would be places to avoid, I would reckon.
Yeah, he's a bit of a sight, isn't he, coming at you. But we talked about it, their variety early on up forward, and he just gives you a different sort of player, doesn't he?
Yeah, well, he's just tough. He's very tough, strong. You wouldn't say he was probably the most skillful player, but he does a good job. And he puts the fear in the defender's mind. He's very much in the mould of Lockett, I think.
17-8, plays 21-13. And Big Bo. Big Bo's sail. That's what it's been tonight. Up forward goes the Lions. Well gathered by Scott. Hooks it back in towards full forward. And Bartlett under pressure. Still it's hot. Was that a high tackle? Umpire said no, play on. And a bounce is the result. So into the last minute or so of this match. And the Brisbane Lions are going to record a very, very good win indeed. So both teams will be 1-1 after this. See if they can get another goal. Maybe it'll be the Dogs. Lappin. Headland couldn't gather it. White, bit of showtime for Darryl. There's Big Bo again.
He's just a very interesting player, Darryl White, isn't he?
Yes.
I mean, you could sit and watch him play football all day, I reckon.
Sean Hart, as we count it down now. The quarter going 35, almost 36 minutes. So very, very long.
And we've shortened football. We're supposed to have shortened football.
Well, supposedly, yeah. There it is. Big win to the Lions. Good win for Lee Matthews. Thank you, Linesman. Thank you, Ball Boys, says Lee. The Brisbane Lions 21-13, 139 to 17, 8, 110. And you have to say, the game played in a pretty good spirit considering the history. We can go down to Dipper.
Yeah, thanks very much, Anthony. Well, certainly, Daniel, you've done your time with the Lions and 7 goals tonight. Terrific effort.
Yeah, it's just good to get back in and have a win because last week I kicked fair, but we didn't win, so it didn't mean much.
What's it like playing under the roof closed tonight?
Yeah, it's a bit different when the ball's up in the air because you're used to seeing the sun or the sky, but you get used to it.
Pretty tough conditions last week in the heat. The way the boys finished off tonight, you're full of run.
Yeah, that's right. It was real hard until we had because it's a 6-day week, so it was good. The boys, we had a slow start, but we finally got into it.
Yeah, pretty important win by the boys.
Oh yeah, for the morale of the team and stuff like that after last week, so it was good.
Was Lee happy at quarter time?
Oh, he wasn't too bad. He just sort of said, stick at it, boys, and we'll run out of top of them, so it was good.
Nice to see you playing well and stick at it.
Thanks, mate.
Good on you, buddy.
Daniel Bradshaw, who kicked 7 big ones tonight. Michael Voss, what an influential player he's going to be. He was getting back to his best last year with that season under his belt. And that man, Beau McDonald. They let Matthew Clark go. They knew they got a big one in Beau McDonald. The Lions, the winners here tonight, spoiling the Dogs' party.